Hello, hello, hello. We are rock and rolling. We are rock and rolling. Howdy, 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 ho. Welcome everyone to this beautiful Sunday afternoon here in the UK. I hope you're enjoying yourself wherever you are in the world, as this stream is worldwide. Mr. Worldwide, as the truly wise Pitbull used to say, or still says. Hope everyone's had a good Sunday, whether it's morning, afternoon or evening, or if you're pushing towards actually Monday. Yes, hope you're well and hope you're ready for a good Spanish Grand Prix, an intriguing Spanish Grand Prix, where we are going to see, little spoiler alert, multiple strategies. Multiple strategies. Yes, I'm all here for it, guys. All here for it. Hey guys, Olivia, good to see you. Who's that guy on the microphone? Who is it? Who is it? Welcome everyone. Hoping for a good, clean race. Yeah, we'll see. I suspect we'll probably see some safety cars and so forth. I think we're starting to see some gremlins appear in some of the teams, mechanical-wise, as we're approaching the end of these regs. Of course, money needs to be spent wisely, doesn't it, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to the... I don't know why the chat box not working. When it comes to, of course, the 2026 regs and the cost cap. So I think that's why we're starting to see a few more mechanical issues in the teams. So, yeah, keep an eye out on that today, of course, in what is no doubt a very hot Barcelona. Hey, Ollie, good to see you, mate. Yes, welcome, welcome. Good to see you, Ant. Good to see regular faces as always. And those of you who always tune in, even if you don't say anything in the chat. I see you guys. Thank you. Right. Who did I see that Yuki starting from the pits, Olivia? I did, yes. So, bit of news about Yuki. And we need to talk Lance Stroll as well, if you haven't seen the news. And, of course, my short and post. So, let's start with Yuki. Thank you for the sub, by the way, Greg. The Yuki situation. So, we know that he's been using an old spec parts, primarily due to what happened at Imola. However, there was something that primarily was the cause for Yuki qualifying in 20th. And no, it's not a lack of talent before you start going at Yuki. No, Pierre Wash, I think his name is, who basically is now the head of the aero division, or lead designer when it comes to Red Bull Racing, replacing Adrian Newey. He stated they bolted on a more higher downforce rear wing to Yuki's car. And it just meant he was so slow. He had too much drag. So Yuki actually came on the radio. He suspected that maybe he had damage on the floor due to a curb strike, which we thought maybe was the cause for him being so slow. But actually, it was his rear wing. And he even came on the radio, which I missed yesterday. Apologies. He came on the radio and stated, that was a good lap, wasn't it? That was a good lap. It felt a good lap. And he was so far off the pace. So yeah, clearly got the setup wrong on the car. He's starting from the pit lane now because they've evidently made some necessary setup changes. So we could see a Yuki Tsunoda who makes his way through the field like he did at Imola. So we'll keep an eye on his progression today. So yeah, absolutely ballsing it up there for Yuki on the setup side. And that just shows how important it is in F1, is that if you don't get the setup right, then you can have all the talent in the world. You're not gonna qualify where that car has the potential to qualify. So. Ultrawide, yes, I saw that as well. You saw somewhere that Lando was using a different rear wing setup. So I haven't seen the actual images comparing the two rear wings. However, I think if you look at the Ghost Lap yesterday, which is tremendous to look at, I highly recommend you go and check it out. If you look at the Ghost Lap yesterday comparing Lando and Oscar's lap on the F1 channel, it's noticeable that Oscar Piastri has higher top speed. So Lando makes up more time on Oscar in the corners, especially under braking, which a higher downforce rear wing will provide you. You're able to brake later because you have more stability on the rear of the car. Oscar was noticeably braking a bit earlier, which you'd have to do to control the balance of the car with a more lower downforce setup. However, where Lando truly lost the time was all of it. He lost all that time through turn 5. That's where he lost the time, was turn 5. He had a snap of oversteer, and Oscar got 2 temps on him out the exit of turn 5, and that's basically the 2 temps what we saw. So, yeah, when it comes to the race, that's going to be intriguing because generally speaking, the more lower downforce setup you have, the more sliding you're going to have over the track surface with the tyres. And this is very much going to be a tyre-dependent race today. Tyre management is going to be key. The undercut is going to look very preferable and enticing, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the quickest because you need that tyre life at the end. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting strategy today from the teams, particularly up front with the McLarens. Ghost car footage is brilliant. Yeah, I agree. Drinking a Zero Ultra? Yeah. Monster, sponsor me. I'm not sponsored yet, but I have tried. Yeah, I'll do like a bit of a Monster. Shame Djokovic can't race instead of Stroll. Yes, so let's talk, shall we? Lance Stroll. And I don't think it's a conspiracy, and I think a lot of you actually made the point in the comments as well, which is bang on. So Lance Stroll, supposedly, Aston Martin have known about his wrist issue for the last 6 weeks. Now, this is, of course, a recurring issue that he had. If you remember, he had that cycling injury at the start of, not last season, the year before, I think it was. And he kind of came back very quickly, didn't he? He came out very, very quick. And what's happened this time is that yesterday, the reason he missed the weigh-in was because supposedly he needed immediate medical attention. And that's why he missed the weigh-in, and he's now subsequently withdrawn because he's having surgery again on that wrist. And of course, with his next race being his home race in Canada, that's obviously where he wants to be ready for. 2 weeks recovery, hopefully. However, he's gone out and participated in qualifying, and if you don't know the rule, guys, the reason why Djokovic, the reserve driver, cannot step into that car is that the rules in F1 state that once a driver participates in qualifying, like that's it for like a reserve driver, a substitute driver. If they then withdraw after that, then that's it. So they can't have you can't have someone else basically qualify in your stead. You can basically avoid all the practice sessions and then step in for qualifying. That's absolutely fine, but qualifying is the cut-off point, and that's why Lance Stroll. And I don't think it's really a conspiracy. Lance Stroll competed in qualifying knowing damn well that he's got a dodgy wrist. There's no way, I don't think, after a lap at Spain, where you haven't got a lot of bumps, you haven't got, like, yes, it's a high downforce circuit, like with the fast, long corners, but I don't think he's going to put overly too much pressure into his wrist, especially a wrist that he already knows prior 6 weeks to this that is hurting him. They've ultimately done what they've done to ensure that Felipe Drugovich cannot compete in the session. They'd rather, from an optics perspective, they'd rather have Lance Stroll compete in qualifying and pull out and have only one car in the race than have Felipe Drugovich step into that car and do a better job than Lance Stroll. That's what it would be for. So, you feel bad for Yuki, although he was outperformed at the end of last season by Liam. He's a genuinely incredible driver, but I feel as though him moving to Red Bull is the decided end for him. I don't think it's the end for him. I think look, you had to take. We said it yesterday. You have to take that decision. So. Hadjar is doomed. Sadly, he'll end up in the second Red Bull seat and get booted from F1. Well, there was a good point made yesterday that 2026 could be the best time to move up to Red Bull because it's a brand new car, it's a brand new set of regs, and no one knows really how this car's going to perform. So while Max will still be there, yes, it's going to be a fresh start for a new driver. It's not going to be a car that has had multiple years of development, which I know they say they don't develop a car around a specific driver, but they can definitely tailor characteristics and develop it kind of aerodynamically to drive in a particular to a more certain way. And 2026 is not going to be like that because it's brand new. So it could be the best time for Isaac Hadjar or someone brand new to step into Red Bull alongside Max. Aston Martin probably save some money with Stroll out, more money for Nui to use, but I hope Lance gets better soon. And yeah, there's also that as well. There's also the tanking to get more tanking constructors points to get more wind tunnel time. There's also that as well. So there's also that shenanigan. I think it's more so. I think it's more so the fact of that they just don't want anyone to outshine Stroll. Like, that's the last thing you want is... I mean, the PR for Stroll was already bad anyway. So the last thing you want is the reserve driver to come in and then outperform Lance Stroll. It's going to be a good race to see the start off with that turn 1. Yeah, turn 1's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. Long run. Very, very long run. I think it's the longest run on the calendar, actually, down into turn 1. Of course, last year we saw George Russell from P4 swoop around the outside of both Lando and Max into turn 1. And especially for those behind, Max and... So in particular, Max and George will be hoping that Lando gets a decent start and gets alongside Oscar pretty quickly, because it means that then they're not... Neither one of those ahead of them are benefiting from the slipstream. They're then benefiting from the slipstream, and it allows them an opportunity to go around the outside. I think someone is going to, whether it be Max, whether it be Lando, someone's going to go alongside Oscar Piastri into turn 1, I think. And I think there's going to be someone who takes to the escape road, and then it's going to be straight on the radio, Stewards, I was ahead at the apex, and so forth, and then we're not going to know for a number of laps who's actually supposed to be where. Aston thinking too much about nothing. Yeah. Plus, it's a push to pass, not DRS. Liam has experience with that from Super Formula push to pass, so I hope he still has a seat next year. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, for Lawson in particular, so this is my theory, and I'm sorry, Yuki fans, but I think Yuki is out of a seat next year. I think the Honda money is going to run out. I think they're going to release Yuki. And I think with Arvid Lindblad competing for the F2 championship, he's now, 4 points behind after winning the feature race earlier on from start to finish in very commanding fashion. I think Arvid Lindblad's going to be promoted, and I think one of either Hadjar or Lawson will be given an opportunity in the second RB seat, a Red Bull seat again. And the way it's going at the moment is going to be Isaac Hadjar, and I think that's what will happen. And I think, unfortunately for Yuki, I think he's going to be out of F1 for 26. But with the Honda partnership there, there'll be a lot of pressure from Honda in the background to utilise their partnership to create a space for Yuki, with most likely Fernando Alonso being his last year in F1, or maybe the investors get on the back and finally force Stroll out, but I don't think so. KLM, Max, could we do a back off or we crash? I don't think he's going to do that so much. I think he'll swoop around the outside and do a George Russell, but then I think if the gap quickly closes, I think he'll waste no time whatsoever heading to the escape road. You know what Max is like. He's very clever with the rules, and I think he will probably... Clean air is going to be king here, and especially for Max in the Red Bull, where he knows that track position is going to be super key, clean air. In a Red Bull that doesn't really have the pace, race pace, it seems, on the McLarens, and McLarens definitely seem to be the quickest car here in race trim and quali, as we saw yesterday. I think Max is clever. That will be kind of playing in the back of his mind, and he'll just take the 10-second penalty up front. I think he'll clear that. I think he'll just go, I'll be able to clear a 10 seconds, or I've got more opportunity to make 10 seconds on the McLarens out up front in clean air than I do sitting behind them in the first stint. Oh, what for? Oh, okay. Do you want to bring it? Well, if you bring the monitor in here when she goes, do you want to go when she goes to sleep? And then just bring the monitor in here and I'll keep an eye on her. She'll be alright. You want to see George and Max fight? Who doesn't, James? Good to see you, mate. I wonder if the wrist and toe injury is a way for Stroll to bow out. I don't think he's going to bow out, but he definitely doesn't have any interest. I don't think he has a lot of interest in an F1 at the moment, does he? So, RB have big issues. What, Red Bull or just RB? Red Bull in general. Hadjar to RB, but that will ruin him, I think. I think that'll be next season, though. I think you need to just leave it as it is. You're getting the thing is, if they decide to move Yuki now, they're not. There's definitely going to be a condition in the contract from Honda that you don't get the full 20 million if you move him back down to RB. Like that, they're going to keep him in there for the rest of the season for sure. especially with how the car is now. Who do I think Cadillac will sign? Ugh, I don't know. I really don't know. I think they're going to go for someone like maybe Bottas. I think they're going to go for an experienced driver. Supposedly it may be Perez, but maybe Alpine are seeking Perez's assistance as well. They want the Colapinto money and the Perez money, the greedy bastards. But yeah, I really don't know. I really don't know. The new XP thing is great. People fighting for top spot. Right, we're still waiting for the sighting laps to become available, guys. So we'll see them make their way round to, of course, their grid slots, and then we'll have a look at the strategy options for today and the, of course, tyre allocations and so forth. Strategy going to be super important here today, of course, with it being quite a high abrasive circuit, with it being a high loaded circuit as well. Very quick, long corners here at Barcelona. Front left takes an absolute battering. And, well, what's very intriguing here, and the reason why strategy is going to be a key factor, is that the hard compound tyre, no one seems to be able to get it to work. So they don't want to use it. Now, everyone pretty much will have a look at tyre allocation shortly, but we are primarily, I think, going to see the medium and the soft compound tyre today, rather than the hard compound, because people just can't switch it on. Now, no doubt, those who are out of position further down the pack, maybe the Haas's, they may split their strategy and go for a gamble to see if they can make that hard tyre work. But it does seem like for the course of this weekend, it's just, yeah, not good enough. So you're better off making the 2 pit stops than you are losing the amount of time on the hard and trying to make a one-stop work. You think the Red Bull in F1 has a major issue having the 2 teams? All the good drivers that make it into RB is doomed, as once they move to Red Bull, they are over. I mean, at the current guys, yes, but 2026, as we mentioned, I think is a fresh new start for a lot of them. So, what do I think Lewis is going to run? Well, we'll have a look at tyre allocations, but I think we're going to see pretty much everyone start on the medium, and then it will be softs probably, two soft runs. But not everyone has brand new softs available, so that's going to be intriguing as well. Any hope of Herta getting the Cadillac seat? No, I don't think so. I don't think Herta's going to get the seat. I think the only reason Herta's been linked is because he's an American driver, but no. He's not exactly. He doesn't exactly rip up IndyCar, does he? With respect to him. I don't watch IndyCar too much, but I do keep an eye on the results, and he's not... If he was, like, absolutely dominating it, I think maybe. But yeah, I think it'd be more of a gamble for Cadillac to take Herta than it would be. I mean, would they really earn that much as well? I mean, is the pull of any IndyCar driver moving them into F1? Does anyone really have that much of a following and a pull to make them enough money in F1? You're better off bringing in Daniel Ricciardo or Sergio Perez, who already has that following, if you want to gain back some of the money from the entry fee you're paying into F1. So that's better off than you're better off bringing them into the sport rather than, I think, an American. And then maybe they could look at creating their own junior teams and so forth. And wow, 10 gifted subs. Thank you. Crazy. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Well done. Welcome to the pit crew. Ozone, Slipstream Merchant, Ahmad, Wonk, Yoin, Stevers, Felix. Totally random, by the way, guys. So if you have been fortunate, please do give him a thank you, as we do have drivers queuing at the end of the pit lane. So let's have a look at the sighting laps and just see if there's, hopefully there's no shenanigans that occur, but you never know. So they're queuing at the end of the pit lane, guys. We'll keep an eye out on them as they make their way around to their grid slots. You bet they were allocated alphabetically? No. I've been able to get Albano 2 wins in F1 Manager. Would it ever be a game I'd play, Camo? I gave F1 Manager a go when it first came out, but yeah, as I said, my time is limited at the moment, and when I do get a little bit free time, I'm trying to create some F1 content, or I'm trying to get back into sim racing a bit more. So yeah, I'd much rather do the racing than manage the racing, you know. No offense, Vinay, but now it doesn't really feel like if Newey was even making any difference in RB or even Aston Martin. Well, supposedly the Red Bull, I mean, if rumours are to be believed, Adrian Newey did warn the Red Bull design team when he was working on the Valkyrie project. He did oversee still some of the design, and he advised them against going down a particular development path, and they went no. They went against it, and it's caused them issues, which is why we saw McLaren gain a lot last season on Red Bull, and why we've got McLaren being the front runners now. So, but these are just sighting laps, guys. The drivers are just making their way around to their grid spots. So we may see them do a couple of laps as they do sometimes make their way back through the pit lane. So just trying to get a feel for the circuit. Of course, track temperature is 49.5 degrees. Unbelievable right now. Nearly 50-degree track temperature. Oh my goodness, that is going to shred the tyres today. That's going to make this a very, very interesting race. I was asking the other week, what do I think a safer slogan for merch? I think I should use my two-finger salute. What are membership perks at the moment? I'm still trying to figure out what the membership perks are. I did say exclusive streams, but primarily, if you've got a membership, I see your comments. I think that's kind of really the membership perk, is that I always reply to members' comments in videos and live streams, and when I'm looking at the chat, you stand out more as well. So if you truly want me to kind of take notice of you and see what you say and answer your questions, then yeah, a membership is a better way to do that. These are just sighting laps. Sighting, C-I-T-I-N-G, isn't that right? Sighting, I think so. Thanks, Adrian. Good, thank you, mate. Good to see you. 43 months. Oh my goodness, 43 months. How many years is that? 43 months. I'm gonna have to make a new badge for you soon. Where is she? She's currently. Is she taking a nap? She's in her playroom at the moment. I've been looking after her for the last few hours while the missus was getting her nails done. As we're off on holiday tomorrow, our first family holiday. So yeah, we've been busy packing, and oh my god, there's so much packing, so much. Like, I thought the missus takes away a lot. I'm very simple. I'm just shorts, t-shirts, and sandals, whereas having a little girl now, oh, so much to take away. TC, you've seen other channels, they grew much faster if it's subscribers only chat. That encouraged people to subscribe. Is it not subscriber only chat already? It should be. The reason, yes, that is one of the perks of subscriber only chat, but the main reason subscriber only chat is just to try and keep the chat a bit more cleaner and a bit slower to an extent. It should be on subscriber only chat. Very close to 46,000 subs. We are indeed. Yes, guys, as always, hit the like and subscribe button. Nearly 1,000 of you in here. They're just making their way around to their grid slots at the moment, and it doesn't seem to be any concerns and issues. So the news today, of course, is Lance Stroll is out of this race. As you can see, only 19 drivers on your standings on the timing tower. That's because Lance Stroll has withdrawn due to a wrist injury. So he's having surgery on that. An issue from obviously him breaking his wrists a couple of years ago in that cycling accident. So he wants to be, no doubt, fighting fit for Canada in a couple of weeks' time. But there's also the other conspiracy theories as well, and ensuring that he did qualify and to ensure that Felipe Drugovich could not participate and upstage him in the race, as well as, of course, extra wind tunnel time for Aston Martin, because Alonso, who is yet to score points this season, and well, it's going to be a tall order for him today at his home race, which he last won back in 2013. Yuki Tsunoda starting from the pit lane after making some changes to his setup, so he broke part firme. He was running a higher downforce rear wing yesterday, so that's why he was considerably slow. So we could see a move up the grid and move up the order for Yuki today, as he does have they put a brand new power unit in that Red Bull in Imola after his big crash there, so that could benefit him here today. And of course, with strategy being a key factor here at Barcelona, track temperature is just falling a little bit, thankfully. It was pushing 50 degrees. It is going to be interesting. So once these drivers have made their way round to their grid slots, we will have a look at the strategy options. What are my predictions? Ooh, thanks, James. Sub mode is on. Cool. My predictions are McLaren 1-2. I'm really going out with my predictions. Yeah, I'm going to go. I really don't know who's going to win out of Piastri and Norris. This is going to be a race where Piastri, we're going to see, has he Has he massively improved on his tyre management? Of course. I think we're going to see the McLarens go wheel to wheel. That's maybe a bit hopium. It's interesting that yesterday in the interviews, I heard how positive Charles Leclerc feels about a podium, starting from 7th. Lewis Hamilton feels very positive about a podium. George Russell also feels very positive about a podium. So that indicates to me that a lot of the teams have looked at Red Bull's pace over this weekend and they think Verstappen is gettable today. Of course, never rule out Max, but it's not often that you see them that positive about getting a podium when they're that far down the grid. So, yeah, who knows who's going to get that last podium spot. Verstappen could be a huge fly in McLaren's ointment today. He could be at the start, for sure. He could be at the start. And I think that's what many will be hoping for. Many will be hoping that Verstappen can at least launch himself ahead of one of the McLarens, maybe even both. Today, I think hards would be a good play, high deg plus dirty air. The problem with the hards, though, Crazy, is that everyone struggled with them this weekend. They haven't been able to get the hards working. Don't know why. So I think the hards, most of the field are going to not use them, which is why that we will see, little spoiler alert, I think we're going to see more than one stops here. I think we will see a couple try it, because what have they got to lose? But yes, it is very much so going to be a 2-stop, but there's loads of different permutations to that. Oh, okay, you're going with it, yeah? Cool, all right. Russell did match Verstappen's lap time, exactly. Exactly, yeah. So, and when it comes to race pace as well, how are the tyres going to fare for Max? I did say this weekend, if Red Bull could look after their tyres, I think Max will win the race. But it doesn't look like they're going to be able to do so. It looks like that they're struggling to look after their tyres. In relation to the McLarens, anyway. In comparison to Ferrari and Mercedes, they're probably still best of the rest. But McLaren definitely still have that edge. Medium, soft, like Lewis did in 22, 23. Well, there's one driver. There's one driver who could do that. Well, not one driver that can do that, but is there one driver who can do it? We'll get into it in a second. We'll just wait for these drivers to make their way, a few more to make their way around to their grid slots there as they are now. But yeah, we'll get into it, because there's one driver in particular who we need to keep an eye out on today, because their qualifying was sacrificed yesterday for the race today. And it's intriguing to see what he can potentially do. So we'll get onto it. I think Oscar will get above Lando by a small amount of time. I think it's going to be close between them. I think it is. I mean, it's going to come down to tyre management, I think, personally. Whoever leads into... I mean, I don't think whoever leads into the first corner is that essential. Well, I mean, it is to an extent, because if you've got clean air, you're going to be more beneficial. But it's... And you're going to get priority. But it's more so on the tyre management today. And I'd be very intrigued to see if Piastri, if Norris does get ahead of him into the turn 1, be very intrigued to see if Piastri can hold on to his tyres in the dirty air. That's where I'm really intrigued to see, because I do still have a little bit more faith on Lando in his tyre management following Piastri than I do maybe Piastri following Norris. Just at the moment, only slightly. But I think there's enough evidence to suggest that Norris is better than Piastri on his tyres. And at a circuit like this where tyre deg is going to be high, that's going to be interesting to watch. So, do I think the McLaren will do a split strategy? I don't know. If they do a split strategy, it's only because one of the drivers has potentially requested it. But I don't think they will. I think they'll keep them on the same strategy. Do I think Leclerc was right to not do an extra quali run yesterday? Oh, we'll get onto that, TC. We'll get onto that. You want to see some wheels banging today? Hopefully we will. Hopefully we will. But anyway, I think that's it. There's nothing really to make notes of here, guys. So let's change scene and let's get set up and talk about the strategy options for today, because it is super, super important. Let me just get everything sorted for you guys. Because this is going to be where the race, I think, is won and lost today in particular. So, strategy options for the race today. Woo! Two-stopper. Come on. come on. Even with the hard compound tyre being suggested there, it looks like it's going to be a two-stopper. Now, I know what you're thinking. Pirelli. They're not always that accurate. However, we have seen the two-stopper be utilised here numerous times in the past, so it does bode kind of well. A one-stopper is going to be a risk. Maybe someone tries to do it, but the tyre deg here is very high. It's very high deg here. It's a high abrasive circuit. It's high energy. The front left tyre just... You can lose front end grip very quickly through here. So yes, tyre management is going to be interesting. It was a two-stop for you yesterday in the sim. Exactly. It's a two-stopper most of the time anyway, on these set of compounds anyway. But yes, I think the primary stop we're going to see is the top one, because we'll have a look at tyre allocations in a second. Soft maybe to start off with the medium in the middle, and then the soft at the end. Not many people, as we'll get onto in a second, have two sets of mediums available to them. Now, they all have a brand new set of hards. Everyone up and down the field has a set of hards available to them. But as we mentioned, in the practice sessions, no one could switch them on. So the data suggests the hard compound tyre is not what the teams want to be using. You're better off using the softer tyres, and yeah, you're going to be much better off there. So two-stopper. We will see a couple of one-stoppers maybe. Guys who have nothing to lose, try and hold on to track position, maybe a late safety car, etc. You know, goal hanging as always. But for the most part, it's a two-stopper. Race sets. Oh, what's this? Charles Leclerc has two brand new sets of mediums available to him. Yes, started in 7th, Charles Leclerc sacrificed a set of softs yesterday to ensure that he could keep a set of mediums. Well, that's what they decided to bring this weekend or whatever. I don't know how they did it, but yes. Basically, he doesn't have as many softs available to him. So he has two brand new sets of mediums. Maybe he starts on the mediums. He's going to be on an offset strategy compared to those. If we just go back and look at this strategy here, maybe he starts on the mediums and not on the softs. Maybe he doesn't do this. Intriguing. Keep an eye out on Charles Leclerc. Keep an eye out on Charles Leclerc. You just watched a minute long ad to sport. Thank you. Thank you. What was my W13 time at Nordschleife? Ages ago I did that. I don't know. Sorry, Rob. I forgot how hot it is. I was thinking that there would be a team that would risk a one-stop. They may do, but it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a struggle. And as we said, the hards just haven't switched on here this week. So the two-stopper there, you can see Yuki, of course, starting from the pit lane. Qualified 20th yesterday. He has 3 brand new sets available of softs available to him. Piastri, Norris, and Verstappen have 1 brand new set of softs available. So they have a brand new set in each tyre. But I don't think the hard is going to be used. This could be key here. Now, Leclerc was hoping for a podium. He seemed even though he qualified in 7th, he did seem a bit optimistic yesterday in qualifying. He didn't seem really down. Of course, he would have hoped that he was qualified a bit higher up, maybe 1 or 2 places. But yeah, that is going to be interesting for Charles Leclerc here with the 2 mediums. Ocon and Behrman have 2 mediums as well. So they're the only 3 drivers on the grid who have two brand new sets of mediums. So we'll see and keep an eye on their progression to see how that strategy plays out for them. Because I highly doubt that they're going to be focusing on using 2 used sets of softs. So ran soft instead of mediums during practice, which then needed to be handed in. There you go. That's exactly it. Sorry to be repetitive, but Russell might just surprise us. He may do. He may do. I think the concern about Russell, though, and Mercedes is that I heard George Russell say that in hot conditions, as we know the Mercedes has been in this era of regs, is the Mercedes has struggled in hotter temperatures. They like the cooler temperatures, and this is the hot of hot. This is going to be the hottest race of the year thus far, I think, in the higher 40s. So that is probably going to affect the Mercedes. So we'll see. Might be optimistic, but I'm sure his pit crew will be able to do something about that. If Leclerc can get higher, can Lewis get in the mix? Maybe. Yeah, I mean, Lewis also seemed positive. The aim, he said, is to get a podium. So this is what I mean. They're not normally as vocal as this, the teams and the drivers. So I think they think Verstappen and the Red Bull is gettable today in the race. I don't think they see Max and the Red Bull being... He's not on the pace as the McLarens this weekend. That's evident in qualifying and in race pace as well. So, hey Graham, good to see you, mates. Audi has an advantage next year. They start the development far more earlier than others. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Their disadvantage, though, is that they haven't been in the sports for a while. So, right. Pit lane lost time, guys. So we are expecting a 2-stop race here today. And, well, under green flag conditions, it's a 22.2 second stop. So, yeah, that's the gaps, obviously, the drivers are going to be looking for, especially those McLarens out up front. No doubt they'll probably pull a 20-second gap very quickly, and they'll be able to pit into free air. They're pretty much in their own race today. I think, harking back to the times of when we saw the Mercedes in their own race in the early hybrid era. Stationary, of course, they need a 10-second advantage pitting under safety car or VSC, and we are not immune to safety cars here. We don't see that many, but we are not immune to them. As you can see there, in the last 7 years, I think that is, 38% we've had a safety car, VSC 25% of the time, and red flag 0%. Now, very hot conditions here today. How is the cars, how are they going to deal with that, with the cooling? And of course, we've seen a lot of mechanical issues a lot of gremlins appear over the last few weeks, particularly in the Mercedes powered unit cars. Williams have had their issues here this week already. Mercedes in the last 2 weeks. We saw Alonso's engine go pop in Monaco. So starting to see a few more mechanical issues. Ferrari engines have had their issues as well in this last year of this regulation set. So could that pop up today? We'll see. But yeah, no chance of rain. That's good, I think, for our opportunity today. We are going to see tyre deck. That's what we need in races to make them interesting. So thankfully, if you remember Bahrain, that was probably the last circuit that we had where there was significant tyre degradation. Miami, kinda, but more so Bahrain. Look how good of a race that was. And I think we're going to see the same here again today. And then the circuit itself, guys, remember, there are 2 DRS zones. The primary overtaking spot is down into turn 1. So DRS activation is just before the last corner. And then we have a DRS in the middle. Not often do we see overtakes down into turn 10, but we're not immune to that. And, well, in particular, we have seen drivers, as they get to the end of their lap, through turn 12, they start to lose a bit of grip. If you watch the F2 races this weekend, especially if they're on an offset strategy, on different strategies, the level of grip difference there is unbelievable. We saw lots of overtakes around the outside of turn 12. Of course, F1's very different, but yeah, with the strategy options today, it should be an interesting one, I think. So much better without the final chicane, exactly. It gives an opportunity, it gives more of an opportunity for a slipstream down into turn 1. Unfortunately, that chicane always broke up the flow and the rhythm, and yeah, drivers just ended up not being able to overtake as much down into turn 1. It's going to be tough on the drivers today with this heat, plus heat coming from the cars in front. It will be. But that's where they earn their money. Calling that Russell has a transponder issue today. I really hope not. It'd be nice to know where George Russell actually is. If George Russell is up and down the grid, if I see George Russell losing 5 positions off the race start, I am not expecting him to have generally had a poor start. I'm just fully expecting it's a transponder, and I'm not going to acknowledge it in the commentary, guys. I'm definitely not going to acknowledge it. Will Verstappen pull off another Imola overtake, but on both McLarens? So my suspicion, as we mentioned at the start, my suspicion is that he will get around the outside. So this is what I foresee happening. Mystic Stuffeyy. I've already called the top 5 in qualifying yesterday. Mystic Stuffeyy. Lando gets alongside Oscar Piastri. They're side by side heading down into turn 1. That benefits George Russell and Max Verstappen in the slipstream behind. Max Verstappen does a George Russell, but he doesn't have enough to get fully around the outside of the McLarens into turn 1, as the McLarens go side by side into turn 1. Max moves off to the escape road and goes cleverly into P1. He wants clean air. He maybe gets a 10-second time penalty, but the 10-second time penalty is worth taking for the clean air advantage that he has. Because even if he doesn't think he's going to win the race today, very long race, 2-stop strategy, with that tyre advantage, he has a better opportunity of securing a P3 or a podium at minimum over everyone else if he's in clean air with a 10-second time penalty. You heard it here first. Heard it here first. Or he does sweep around the outside and mugs both the McLarens. Because they give each other room because of papaya rules. McLaren clash are not finishing with Max winning the Ferrari 2 and 3 makes the championship more exciting for Max to win at the end his 5th championship. Yeah, I agree. So, I mean, look, regardless, even if Oscar wins, so he's got a 3-point advantage over Lando at the moment. There's 7 points, so he could extend his championship lead back out to 10 points, like it was at Monaco. So, Monaco? Yeah, it was, because it was 13 points, wasn't it? And then he closed 10 points. Sorry, it was 30. So he'd extend his championship lead out to 10 points. Not quite as what it was before Monaco. But yes, if Lando wins, then he leads by 4 points, I think it is. 4 points over Oscar if Oscar finishes second. So, yeah, lots can happen. As long as Verstappen is careful on the radio and doesn't invite a drive-through like Russell did. Yeah. As long as he doesn't go on the radio and go, I'll take the penalty. All smug. No, he'll go, I was ahead at the apex. I was forced out. I was ahead at the apex. That's what he'll say. And he'll let the stewards make the decision. He may end up being ahead at the apex. You never know. That's the thing. Where do they measure that line of being the actual apex? So, yeah. But there's a lot that can happen in the longest run on the calendar down to turn 1, as you can see here. So, lots can happen. Red Bull race pace was same as McLaren. Don't think it was. They also didn't do that many long runs. Like, you got to remember that they don't also always do their race pace on full fuel. And it's even hotter. So, the Monaco track is better for karting than F3, F2, F1. Yeah. Or for Formula E. But yes, that's it, guys. That's the strategy options for today. It looks like we're going to have a 2-stopper, even if the hard tyre is used. Will someone try and do a 1-stop? Who knows? Of course, a safety car can always spoil the strategy options here, and we aren't immune to that. Tyre allocations, everyone pretty much has the same tyres available, apart from those who didn't qualify and make it into Q3. They have some more softs available to them. Charles Leclerc is the only one, and the 2 Haas's, but Charles Leclerc is the only one in the top 10 who has 2 brand new sets of mediums available to him. How will that fare for him in his strategy and his chances for a podium today, or maybe even something better, especially if there is safety cars? We will see. We'll keep an eye out on those 3 drivers in particular today. And of course, pit stop loss time 22 seconds with a 10-second advantage under safety car. That is what we are keeping an eye out on, guys. There we go. Not long till we rock and roll, guys. Not long till we rock and roll. Remember, always hit that like and subscribe button if you can do. It'd be much appreciated. Helps grow this great community that we have built here. Pushing 50,000 subs now. Unbelievable. Thank you, guys. Right, let's just get set up. But no issues while drivers made their way round to the pit lane, I'm hearing. So everyone is A-OK. Pit exit has been closed. Yuki is starting from the pit lane, and Lance Stroll has withdrawn from this race, if you are unaware of that, overnight due to a wrist issue. So yeah, not great for him. Right, let's just get everything back ready. No rain forecast for today either. Just hot. Hots. Let's just see if everything's okay here. There we go. There we go. Ready to go. Happy days. Too hot, too fast to track. 2 stoppers to go. Yeah. Am I a fan of Bumble? Funnily enough, me and my missus met on Bumble. Here we are, 7 years later, living together, and with a lovely, beautiful daughter. How's the packing going? We're nearly there, Murray. Yeah, we're nearly there. Last few couple of items, you know, toiletries and stuff. So, yeah, it's I can't believe how much it is. Anyone who's gone away as a family, remember that first family holiday? Oh, my goodness. How much packing is there to do with a little one? Whoa. Maybe we've overpacked, but better to be overprepared than not. So, hey, Rich, good to see you, mate. Stuffeyy, yeah, you're a Lewis fan, but you predict it's not going to be a good run for Lewis. He has a few new set of tyres. We'll see, but the thing is for Lewis is that he's got the only driver in the top 10 who has, you'd say, newer, who has a difference in strategy is Charles Leclerc. Everyone else has the same set of tyres available to them, other than Sorry, I'm incorrect there. Yes, I am incorrect. Sorry. Piastri, the McLarens and Verstappen have a brand new set of each available to them. Yes, Lewis has no brand new sets on the softs. But yeah, we know how Lewis is good on the tyres. He always has been good on the tyres. So we'll see how that happens. Oh, risk of rain is 10%. I'm being informed there. Okay. Be sure that McLaren has already discussed the tactics that Max will use down into turn 1. This will be the most interesting moment of the race. Save the following strategies. Yeah, I mean, of course, they're going to be... they're going to be thinking... they're going to be thinking about, of course, covering off Max. But Lando's also going to be thinking purely about turn 1. But yeah, I think personally what we're going to see... And if I am Oscar Piastri... Well, that's a bit bright, isn't it? If I'm Oscar Piastri, you don't want to do what happened at Imola. That you want to learn from that. And I think he'll just utilise being ahead at the apex. And I think even if Lando is alongside him, he will shove him out of room. Especially with there being no gravel on the outside of turn 1. It's basically concrete, I think, isn't it? It's a concrete runoff. I know there's some curb in there. So I think he'll do that. You've got to. Like, it doesn't matter if there's papaya rules and so forth. Ultimately, it's about... it's about your own aspirations in the championship, so. Forget the suitcase, you got a job to do. Oh, no, I fully am. I'm packed already anyway, don't worry. This may be the last time we see Catalonia for a while. Yes, because it's being replaced by Madrid next year. The circuit that is making its way around the industrial complex estate in Madrid, so... Oscar is more aggressive. He is more aggressive. However, leading a championship is very different to chasing a championship. And I think we saw that in Imola. Yes, people will say he was covered off by George Russell, but I think he was too respectful to Max. And he should have carried more speed into that first corner and ensured he was always ahead at the apex. But you have more to lose when you're leading a championship rather than when you're chasing. So he had I get why he was maybe more cautious. McLaren probably thought they had the pace advantage in race trim to get past the Red Bull, but it turned out they didn't. So yeah, I think today, maybe... I think if something happens with Max today, I think we could see something... I'm actually going to suggest that they may let Max go. Because the McLarens probably think they have even more of a significant advantage here than they do at Imola. That's a bold claim. So we'll see how hard they fight Max down into turn 1. Not a big fan of the Madrid ring. Looks like another Monaco. Yeah, I just don't... I'm not a fan of all these street circuits, man. Just not a fan. Like, give us more like the historic circuits. But it all comes down to money and so forth as well and funding. That's the problem. Where do I think Gasly and Hadjar are going to end up today? I think Hadjar... Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know. I think they've got a good chance of finishing where they finish right now. I think the drivers ahead of them probably have better tyre management. It's going to come down to tyre management more so than outright pace. That's where the race is going to be won and lost today for a lot of these drivers. Albon, I mean, the flexi wing directive has affected, I think, quite evidently a few teams here. So I don't know. I really don't know. It's going to be who's going to be able to manage their tyres better and have that grip at the end. It's possible to go long here if you're looking after your tyres. The undercut, we're going to see probably a few drivers try and utilise the undercut, but I think if you try and utilise the undercut, I think that's a clear indication that really you're just not managing your tyres very well. Unless you're like really in the pack. But yeah, I think the undercut is a bit of a subpar strategy options today. The overcut is what you want to be doing because you want that fresh rubber at the end, because it is possible to overtake here and it is possible to chase down drivers at the end. So the guy who tested the Madrid ring in the sim for the promo video binned it in the promo. I saw that. Yeah, was it for that chicane? He like just basically went... Oh, it looked like AI more so than an actual thing. So Hadjar P11, Alonso and Albon to pass. Oh, bold claims, Adrian. Bold claims. If Piastri clashed into Max last week, then everyone would say he should have taken it easy, and it's a long game. Yeah, I mean, you're damned if you are and damned if you don't, to be honest with you. But I think when you look at it, if Max Verstappen was ever in Oscar's position in Imola, I don't think Max is ever letting someone overtake him around the outside like that. Even if he's preoccupied with George Russell, I just don't think he is. Even if it came to the point where Oscar roles reversed, let's say Verstappen was in Oscar's position and Oscar was doing the Verstappen move, Max would roll off the brakes and run him out of room. And then if he gets a penalty for it, he gets a penalty for it. He'd much rather that clean air. That's what Max does, and that's what Max cleverly does. He's like, no one is overtaking me around the outside. No chance. I'll let it go to the stewards. Would a new TD play a bigger role in race pace than it did in quali? Yes, because we have seen in practice, when they've not been doing their push laps, we have seen lots of understeer, lots of oversteer as well, and especially at a circuit like this where, yes, tyre management and you're leaning on that left-hand tyre a lot, we have seen wobbles from drivers. We have seen instability in the cars, which we necessarily haven't seen in the early stages of the season before the crackdown on the wing. So it seems to be that the only team that have not been affected by it in some shape or form has been McLaren. Not long to go now. No, not long to go at all. Just under 10 minutes, guys. Just under 9 minutes. When will F1 come to Kyalami again? It could be, but I think Cape Town also put a bid in. And I think Morocco have recently just put a bid in. And I think Rwanda have also put a bid in. So there's multiple African countries who are seeking the coveted spot on the calendar as being the African race for next season or the season after. But I think Kyalami is best suited. I want to see proper GP circuits, not bloody another, another temporary circuit, another street circuit, you know? What other team can make the fastest car in constant 1 to 2 seconds and podiums into a fight between two drivers? Yeah. Incidentally, I don't actually think the Mercs would be as good here today. No, I don't think so as well. I think we could see him drop off. I mean, that could mean, I think Mercedes, we could see them maybe get attacked by Alpine and Hadjar. We could see them maybe drop for the field a little bit. I don't know. Antonelli is one, he hasn't got on top of his tyre management yet. When we've gone to races where tyre management has been a bit more of an issue, you have seen Antonelli struggle, which is understandable. A lot of rookies struggle with the tyre management with these tricky Pirelli tyres in the first season. Piastri was similar. So Antonelli, while he has the raw pace, that element of looking after the tyres, he's still obviously getting accustomed to. But yeah, could be a tough one for Antonelli here this week, or in this race today. When we've seen him he's been quite, even though he's in 6th there, he has been quite some way off the pace of George. So the classic circuits are just special, whereas street circuits become special when they aren't so regular in Canada. Exactly. I mean, that's part of the reason why Monaco is no longer unique. It's lost its uniqueness. It's just one of many street circuits on the calendar. And we now go to street circuits as well, which don't have the same characteristics as Monaco, but we see overtaking. So people are like, well, we can go to other street circuits and actually see an opportunity of overtaking and a race, and we don't get that in Monaco. So that's why that love of Monaco has dissipated over the years. Hey Rob, good to see you, mate. Greetings from Morocco, as always. Yeah, I saw the bid. It's like a whole massive complex, isn't it, that they're looking to build, not just the race circuit in itself. There's only a few that saved the medium in quality to have 2 today. That's only 3 drivers, Crollido. The 2 Haases and Charles Leclerc are the only drivers who have 2 new sets of mediums available today. So everyone else has 1 set only. Don't even have a set of used. So that's going to be intriguing to see their progression today and see how they're able to make it up the grid. 50 degrees the track temperature is now, guys. Look at that. 50 degrees. Oh, my goodness. Ooh. You love street circuits, but Monaco is giving you a cold sweat. You know Vegas is new, but it's been pretty... Look, this is what I do here, guys. I will happily be proven wrong. And I'm happy for my opinions and my outlook to be changed. And I was very negative about the Vegas circuit when it first came out and it was announced. However, we've been there 2 years now, and we've had 2 great races. So, I've eaten humble pie, for sure. You wish Drogovic could have subbed in? I think a lot of people thought that. Yeah. Very selfish of Aston Martin, to be honest with you. But it's all to do with PR. It's all to do with optics. I think they knew Lance Stroll had this issue. Well, they knew he had his issues 6 weeks prior, but they probably knew it was very poor when it came to even make or touch and go to making the race today. And they've probably just sent him out there to do a few laps. Do your quali session, because then it means Felipe can't get an opportunity. So he can't stand in. So, yeah, that means that now Felipe Drogovic can't step in and make Lance Stroll look like an idiot, you know, and outperform him in the race. It'd be cool to see a Russell win. I hope he gets at least one win in the season. Oh, yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I think they need some shenanigans to happen up front, really, the likes of Russell and the Ferraris. I think they need some shenanigans to happen with the McLarens and Max up front. So, do I think Leclerc or Hamilton can touch the podium today? I do. Yes, I do. Do I like Adelaide Park? I don't remember it so much, to be honest with you. I don't remember it so much. But anywho, we are about to get tyre blankets taken off of these drivers' wheels, guys. So we'll very shortly find out who is going to be starting on what tyre. I do suspect most will be starting on the softs. May see a few medium runners. I'd be very surprised if we see anyone on the hards. I'm going to go for a lube break. I suggest you guys do the same. And then when we come back, we'll be gearing up for the formation lap. And we'll be able to see exactly what drivers are going to be starting on. Back in a tick. Well. Everyone's starting on the softs. Everyone's starting on the soft compound tyre. Interesting. And the two McLarens. Well, how is that going to favour them, guys? How is that going to favour them? The two McLarens starting on a brand new, fresh set of softs. Ooh, you expect them to get a decent launch. So Yuki Tsunoda is starting from the pit lane, guys, and he will be starting on the medium compound tyre. So an alternative strategy for Yuki. We'll see how that plays out for him, understandably. But yes, interesting there that everyone pretty much on the soft... Well, everyone is on the soft compound tyre. New technical directive, nothing at all. That's not correct. The technical directive did do something. It just didn't really have the effect that it was supposed to on Oscar Piastri. Nice. Wow, Scott, thank you for becoming a chief strategist, by the way. Much appreciated, buddy. Welcome, everyone. I hope you're enjoying the stream. If you are, hit the like button. We've got nearly 4,000 of you in the stream right now as we are approaching the start of this Spanish Grand Prix, the last one at Barcelona de Catalunya. Who knows when we're going to be back? Circuit de Catalunya, sorry. Who knows when we're going to be back at this circuit? Of course, it's been replaced by the Madrid circuit next season. Which is a real shame. Can it go out on an absolute stormer and make those at Liberty Media realise what we'll be missing when we head to when we don't go to this circuit? We are expecting a two-stop strategy here today. There is going to be a lot of tyre management, but it's going to make things very interesting because we're going to see probably different offsets of strategies. There's different tyres available for those up and down the grid. And of course, we have the possibility of a showdown at the end with those maybe on the quicker tyre, longer lasting as well. So yeah, lots of things that can happen in this race, of course, but first and foremost, they need to make their way down to turn one into the longest run on the calendar into turn 1. We saw last year George Russell make his way from 4th place down into 1st place, swooping around the outside of both Max Verstappen and Lando Norris. Will we see a repeat of that today? Who knows? Who knows? But the McLarens are starting on a brand new fresh set of softs. Everyone else in the top 10 is on used softs. Charles Leclerc has only got the fresher softs out of everyone around him. And then we've got Lawson, Behrman, Hulkenberg, Ocon, Sainz, and Colapinto on a brand new fresh set of softs. But here we go, guys. Formation lap for the Barcelona Grand Prix, the Spanish Grand Prix here. I hope you are all doing well. Thank you for the viewers as always, and those of you tuning in. Oh, who's going to win? Who's going to win? The poll at the moment, which I'm about to end. Get your votes in as I'm about to end it in 5 seconds. Who wins the Spanish Grand Prix? Oscar Piastri is your favourite at the moment. Lando Norris is second favourite. More people have faith in Verstappen winning this race today. As 3, 2, 1, the poll has been ended. And yes, Oscar Piastri, 50% of you think he's going to win this race. 26% think Verstappen. 18% think Norris. And George Russell starting in 4th think he is on 4%. Starting 4th on 4% of the vote is going to win this race. Here we go. Right. Oscar Piastri is your pole sitter. The top 4 are as they are in the championship standings. Oscar Piastri leads Lando Norris by 3 points in the standings at the moment, and he will be looking to try and lead out of the first corner. We know how clean air is king here, and Lando Norris, well, he got pipped by 2 tenths. A slight mistake in turn 5 cost him all-important pole position yesterday, but he'll be looking to try and get ahead into turn 1. Will there be papaya rules in effect? We will see. But Lando Norris in P2, Max Verstappen in P3. He'll be looking to get that slipstream on the 2 McLarens and do what George Russell did last year and swoop around the outside and do something akin to Imola and get out up front. George Russell starting in P4. Can he have a repeat of last year and get into 1st place? Lewis Hamilton is eyeing a podium today. He seems quite positive about his opportunities in the race as Kimi Antonelli starts in 6th. Charles Leclerc has 2 brand new sets of mediums available today. The only driver in the top 10 to have 2 new mediums. We'll keep an eye on his strategy today and see how that plays out for him. Pierre Gasly, much better than Monaco last week in P8 as Isaac Hadjar qualified in Q3 once again in 9th, continuing his good run of form. Fernando Alonso starts in 10th, eyeing his first points of the season after a mechanical issue last week in Monaco retired him while he was comfortably in the points. Alex Albon, it's been a tricky weekend for the Williams as they've had mechanical issues all throughout practice, and Albon starts in 11th. Bortoletto, arguably his best qualifying since the start of the year in P12. Liam Lawson looking to build on some confidence from Monaco last week, but he is being outperformed by Hadjar at the moment. Ollie Behrman in P14. Nico Hulkenberg's in 15th. Esteban Ocon is in 16th. Carlos Sainz at his home circuit has never finished outside the points here in his 10 years at Spain. He will be looking to ensure that he can recover in this race and ensure that that run continues. We have Colapinto starting in 18th after a mechanical issue retired him from Q1 yesterday. And Yuki Tsunoda is in 19th, starting from the pit lane as he qualified in 20th, with Lance Stroll has withdrawn from this race. And here we are, guys, moments away from the Spanish Grand Prix getting started as Colapinto makes his way to the end of the grid there. It will be lights on. And it's green lights. Away we go. Has Oscar Piastri got a decent start here on this brand new set of softs? Has Lando Norris been able to get alongside him? As we can see there, that Oscar Piastri seems to have got a very decent start there as Norris is coming under attack from Max Verstappen, and I think Verstappen has got ahead of Lando down into turn 1, and Oscar Piastri, brilliant start from him as he is ahead of his teammate and Max Verstappen as Lando Norris bogged down at the start. Charles Leclerc is up in position. Hamilton's got past George Russell, and well, you can see Hulkenberg has made 3 positions on Alex Albon there at the start, and I think Albon is making his way to the back there. He may have contact as we're watching the start of this race to let you know what happened here. As yes, Oscar Piastri had an unbelievable start. Lando got swamped by George Russell and Max Verstappen. There were 3 wide as they went into turn 1, and Lando just had to give the position to Max Verstappen. Antonelli took to the escape road, so Lando Norris, fortunately, like he did a year ago, had a very poor race start, and that has allowed Piastri to breeze away here at the start, almost a second in front of Max Verstappen. Of course, DRS will be activated next lap around, and Max Verstappen is P2, Lando Norris P3. Hadjar's just lost the position to Fernando Alonso as Hulkenberg is up 4 positions at the start here. as we saw Lewis Hamilton actually make a brilliant overtake around George Russell into turn 5. Hamilton getting fighty here as Hamilton is looking to close up the gap on Lando Norris at the start here, as it is Piastri with 1 lap completed. Piastri leads from Max Verstappen in P2. Lando Norris is P3. Hamilton P4. Charles Leclerc is already up into P5. A great start from the Ferrari drivers as Alonso loses another position to Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg is on an absolute charge, ladies and gentlemen. He's up into P10 already, but Piastri and Verstappen starting to pull a gap from Lando, who seems to have got maybe an issue with his McLaren. I'm not entirely sure, but this is not like Lando to be falling off the pace already. Yes, we have seen him make poor starts in the past, as Alonso is trying to get back past Nico Hulkenberg there, as we saw a brief change of position again. But Lando Norris has already dropped off quite considerably, 2.3 seconds back from Verstappen. Is there maybe an underlying issue with that McLaren? We will see. Or is Lando just a bit flustered after that poor start there? But let's keep an eye on those as Hamilton is up into P4. Leclerc is up into P5, and I tell you what, the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, who has 2 brand new mediums available for him today, the only driver in the top 10 to be on an advantage, technically, with 2 mediums available to him at this very high abrasive degradation circuit. Well, how will that fare? But George Russell is looking to regain that position on Charles Leclerc. He's down 2 places, but Nico Hulkenberg is on an absolute charge at the moment. DRS activated. Max Verstappen's going for an attempt on Oscar Piastri in the early stages of this race. He closed up on the McLaren as he set the fastest lap of the race there at 20.0. He was 2 tenths quicker than Oscar Piastri, and he had a significant run out of the last corner there on Oscar, with, of course, Oscar Piastri in that McLaren charging through that clean air and just punching a hole for the Red Bull behind. But how long will Max be able to stay in the dirty air of that McLaren? We will see. Max Verstappen needs to get the move done as soon as possible. We know that McLaren has a lot of traction out of the slow corners, as we saw in Monaco. And Oscar Piastri, who has been the quickest driver here all weekend, qualified on pole position, he'll be looking to try and pull out that gap, which he has currently done on Max Verstappen. And you can see there, Max Verstappen has just lost about half a second, even more, through the first 2 sectors alone, as Oscar Piastri looks to pull out away from the slipstream of Max Verstappen. He's broken the DRS toe at the moment, and well, within the top 8 guys, it is only George Russell who is in the DRS as it currently stands. Wow, what a start to this race, guys. What a start to this race. Crazy, thank you for the £20. Much appreciated. Thank you. But as we complete our 3rd lap here at the Spanish Grand Prix, yes, Oscar Piastri leads 1.3 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen with Lando Norris in P3. It looks like Lando may already be thinking about the tyre saving at this stage of the race, as he is 1.8 seconds back from Max Verstappen. Lewis Hamilton, who is up a position, is 1.1 seconds back from the McLaren of Lando. Charles Leclerc 1 second further back, and the gaps are pretty even all the way down to P8 as Isaac Hadjar, the 2 Frenchmen, Gasly and Hadjar, who watched the Champions League final last night, cheering on their team, their home team in Paris Saint-Germain, win a 5-0 final against Inter Milan. Well, they will be looking to not be friends out on track today. It'll be business as usual, as Hadjar will be looking to try and force his way past Pierre Gasly and put a gap between him and the charging Stake F1 car of Nico Hulkenberg. Updates on the Stake F1 car here this weekend. Hulkenberg, who had a poor qualifying by his standards yesterday, completely outperformed by his younger rookie teammate Gabriel Bortoleto, has had an unbelievable start, up 5 positions. And well, as we make our way further back down the grid there, you can see Bortoleto is where he started. Lawson is where he started. Albon, the biggest loser here at the moment, down 3 positions. Not entirely sure what happened with Alex Albon. I'll wait to see a replay of the start. Maybe he bogged down similar to how Lando Norris did. But yes, Behrman down a position as well. Ocon is where he started. Sainz, Colapinto and Tsunoda all where they started. But Piastri has pulled out a 2-second lead on Max Verstappen now. He started on a fresh set of softs. And well, Max Verstappen, who has 3 older tyres, he no doubt will be shifting his focus potentially to the McLaren of Lando Norris behind him. But this is good stuff for Oscar Piastri and his hopes to extend his championship lead here today, as he leads 3 points ahead of Lando Norris. But Lando Norris is actually being caught a little bit by Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton doing very well to stay in the dirty air of the McLaren at this moment in time, as Charles Leclerc is also doing pretty good as well. Kimi Antonelli starting to fall off a little bit back from his teammate, as that gap is 2 seconds to George Russell, as Charles Leclerc now gets into the DRS of his teammate Lewis Hamilton. We'll see whether or not there'll be team orders. No doubt they're on different strategies today, the two Ferraris, as Lewis Hamilton does not have those two fresh set of mediums that his teammate has. But we'll see. Charles Leclerc, of course, out-qualified by Hamilton yesterday. The second time this season, only other than China. So it's not often that Lewis has ended up ahead of Leclerc, but Leclerc did sacrifice his qualifying, ensured he only had one run in Q3 so that he could focus on it today. As Nico Hülkenberg, maybe that's why he gained so many positions, ladies and gentlemen. He's been noted for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. Turn 1, lap 1. So let's watch the race start. As can see that just Alex Albon got a bit of a poor start. And he just got swamped. As I'm watching Nico Hülkenberg, and Nico Hülkenberg took to the escape road and made up a couple of positions. Yes, so we'll see. We'll see whether or not they allow him to leave that there. But Lewis Hamilton has now come under attack by his own teammate, as Lando Norris was 1.5 tenths slower off the line compared to Max Verstappen, or a full tenth slower off the line to Max Verstappen. And, well, Max just forced him to the dirtier inside line, where Max could then carry more speed around the outside to Oscar Piastri's glee, as he now opened that gap to 3 seconds. And no doubt there'll probably be calls on the radio from Charles Leclerc, let me by, as he is evidently much quicker than Lewis, as he has fallen back to 2 seconds behind Lando Norris at the moment. And Charles Leclerc, who's on a different strategy today, I think this decision needs to be made very quickly. He's on 2-lap younger tyres as well than Lewis Hamilton. Let's see if they change positions as they head down into turn 1, and whether or not they fight it, or if team orders are implemented. We'll keep you informed on what occurs there. But everyone got through turn 1 without incident. I say without incident. Liam Lawson tagged the rear right wheel of Fernando Alonso, wheel on wheel there, and that could have ended so poorly for the homegrown driver, of course, Fernando Alonso, as Charles Leclerc still stays behind Lewis Hamilton right now. Still yet to see any sort of radio message from Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc, or for Ferrari, as Alex Albon's decided to pit. Alex Albon has pitted very early in this race, so not sure whether or not he picked up... yes, Alex Albon's pitting because he has front wing damage. The front wing was lopsided. It's intact, but it's lopsided to one side. As no further investigation for Nico Hülkenberg, so he holds on to those 5 positions he gained, but Fernando Alonso has just gone purple in the first sector. But Alex Albon now forced into an early pit stop. He's down in last position, and, well, it's going to be a tall order for him and the Williams team to score points today. You do suspect, with Sainz also only up a position in P16 due to that early pit stop from Alex Albon. But intriguing at the moment to see what is going to happen with Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc. Are they going to release Charles? I think you have to release Charles right at this moment in time. He's clearly the quicker driver, but we will see what Ferrari do. We know that they like to linger on these decisions, and, well, they aren't the most confident and concise when it comes to making these choices. Poor communication has been at the forefront of the news in recent times, of course, most recently at Monaco with Lewis and his engineer. And at the moment, Charles Leclerc is no doubt kicking himself. Still yet to hear some radio messages to see if he is actually on the radio to his team, as he is just holding station behind his teammate. But you do suspect he needs to be released to be able to close up on Lando, as that gap at the front, 3 seconds to Piastri and Max Verstappen at this moment in time. With Lando Norris 1.3 seconds back from Max Verstappen. It is more so a question of if, not when, Lando closes up on Max, because how long will they be able to hold onto those tyres for the Red Bull? As Norris is told, we can push on these tyres now. They're up to temperature. Let's go. So Lando is on a push. We'll keep an eye on that gap from Lando Norris to Max Verstappen. 1.3 seconds. Just under 1.3 seconds now. The gap is to Max Verstappen. Let's see. 1.2 seconds. 1.1 seconds. Wow. Lando gaining a lot of time there out of turn 9 down to turn 10 on Max Verstappen. Let's see if he's going to be able to get into the DRS through the last sector here. DRS activation is just before turn 14. And no, he just loses a bit of time through turn 12. Very long right-hander there. Highest point off the circuit, and there can be gusts of wind that do throw off the car's balance slightly. But Lando definitely in the slipstream of that Red Bull right now. Let's stay tuned again with Leclerc and Hamilton. Leclerc has the DRS open. Any message from Charles Leclerc? in relation to Lewis Hamilton right at this moment in time? No. He is just sitting behind Lewis, and there is a change of position. No. Very, very close. Charles Leclerc, I think, did go for the move there, or at least got under the rear wing of Lewis Hamilton as Ollie Behrman's decided to pit. So Ollie Behrman is the first driver to pit here very early and pull this trigger. But yes, Ferrari not looking to swap positions at this moment in time. This is their strategy, supposedly. We will see. Albon out there just getting in his practice laps he had missed over the weekend. Yes, limited running for Albon this weekend. He missed a couple of practice sessions with some mechanical issues. But Ollie Behrman and Tsunoda pits as well. Early pit stop for Yuki Tsunoda, considering he started on the medium and from the pit lane. So very interesting that Yuki Tsunoda has decided to pit so early as he comes out behind Alex Albon as they go side by side into turn one. And Alex Albon gets out ahead of Yuki, but not good for Albon because Yuki did start from the pit lane. But that's very bold decision there by Red Bull. I'm wondering what their strategy option is because they've put him onto soft compound tyre, as Charles Leclerc did actually go for that move. So the Ferraris are indeed racing right at this moment in time, and I cannot for the life of me figure out what this strategy is by Ferrari at this moment in time. So very, very bizarre decision why they're not allowing and releasing Charles Leclerc. Ridiculous decision. Ferrari being Ferrari at this moment in time, ladies and gentlemen, as we'll see if Leclerc goes for the move on Hamilton down into turn one this time around. Is there a swap of positions? And I think there is. And Leclerc finally gets past Lewis Hamilton. Was that team orders or was that a genuine move by Leclerc? He did come from quite far back, but the fact of the matter is that they've waited I'd say they've arguably waited 5 laps too long, 6 laps too long for that decision to happen. That is ridiculous, to be perfectly honest with you. We'll see how that plays out, and if Charles Leclerc finishes only a few seconds behind the leaders come the end of this race, we'll definitely be looking at a talking point. But now releases Charles Leclerc as there's confirmation of team orders, as Lewis Hamilton did release Charles Leclerc. But that is arguably dilly-dallying again from the Ferrari team. Apologies to Fossey, and I don't need to be wearing my Ferrari shirt there to be jinxing them, do I? But yes, let's jump back forward ahead to the top of the standings, shall we? Piastri is leading 3.9 seconds, 4 seconds from Max Verstappen at the moment. But Max Verstappen will be looking in his rearview mirrors as he will have the papaya car in his rearview mirrors, filling them up of Lando Norris. DRS open. Let's see if he's going to be able to get him down into turn one here. There's a big toe there. Look at the advantage Norris is gaining down on Max Verstappen down into turn one, but it's not going to be enough. Around a 3/10 advantage Norris had there down into turn one as Tsunoda on that brand new fresh set of softs sets the fastest lap, and we're seeing Gasly dive into the pit lane now as well. So we're starting to see a couple of laps here. So a couple of pit stops from the drivers very early on, a lot sooner than I personally expected, as it is predicted to be a 2-stop here, and this does clearly indicate that, as we are seeing drivers switch on from the medium onto the soft, Yuki Tsunoda in particular, and onto that medium there for this middle stint. But Max Verstappen holding off Lando Norris to try and extend his lead. I say extend his lead here. His lead over Charles Leclerc, who I think definitely is looking for a podium today. He's 5.8 seconds back from Lando Norris. Last time around, a 21.0 from Charles Leclerc, but that was the lap where he was let by Lewis down into turn one. Whereas Verstappen did a 21.1 and Norris did a 20.929. Oscar Piastri out up front at the moment in clean air, did a 28.90. Of course, they are looking to hit a target lap here and manage these tyres to a certain distance to ensure that their strategy works out. But Lando's even closer this time around. Loses about a tenth, though, a couple of hundredths out of the last corner, but he's closer than he was last time around. He's 6 tenths behind. Can he get side by side with Max Verstappen down into turn one? Does the Red Bull of Max have an answer here to the McLaren of Lando Norris? Will Lando be able to go for the move? No, he's just a little bit too far back to try and gather that speed around Max Verstappen, but he's all over his rear wing. Will it be third time of asking for Lando Norris? But yes, Max Verstappen positioning his car nicely to defend from Lando at this moment in time. He clearly needs an overdrive, an overspeed to get around that Red Bull, as Verstappen reports on the radio. No grip compared to them, that is. As Verstappen already complaining about grip, and the lap times are clearly indicating that. I say clearly indicating that he's pushing at the moment to try and keep Lando behind, whereas Piastri did a 21.136 last time out, but he's in clean air and extending that lead. 4.2 seconds, 4.3 seconds that gap is to the Max Verstappen and Lando Norris. And Lando Norris is all under the rear wing of Max right now. It's more of a question of if, not when, as 3 tenths behind. He'll lose a bit of time as he heads through the slower section of turn 11 and 12 here. But we saw last time around, it was 7 tenths the first time around. It was 6 tenths the last time around. And well, this time, as he comes out of the last corner, it's 4 tenths Lando Norris is behind Max Verstappen. He's losing grip here, Max, as he reported on the radio. And well, will he be getting past that Red Bull before they even head into turn 1? And I think he has done. Yes, easy done for Lando. Nothing Max could do to fight the pace and the extra level of grip that the McLaren has. And well, that will now release Lando to chase down his teammate. And with 4 seconds between him and Piastri at the moment, it's not too bad, as Oscar Piastri is stating, struggling a little bit with the rear. He's asked for a tyre update. And well, his last lap with a 21.091. So we'll keep an eye on the lap times now to see how Norris can do in clean air, as Liam Lawson has just got past Bortoletto and is up into P10. I think that was an overtake there for Liam Lawson, or that was him holding on to position there from Bortoletto. But yes, Oscar Piastri and Max Verstappen will keep Max Verstappen and Lando Norris will keep an eye out on their lap times, as Lando in that clean air there, of course, with the tow and the DRS assistance from Max Verstappen, did go fastest for his lap time, or for this race, 23.7 in the first sector. So 4.2 seconds is the gap. But we're starting to see a few more pit stops. I believe not at this moment in time. So we've got Gasly, Hulkenberg, Behrman, Tsunoda, Albon and Sainz have all made pit stops. And at the moment, the Williams drivers are dead last, 18th and 19th. Of course, no Lance Stroll today after he withdrew due to a wrist injury, as Max Verstappen dives into the pit lane. Max Verstappen dives into the pit lane, struggling on those tyres, and well, that promotes Charles Leclerc up into P3, a 21.406 for him, and look at that, a 20.531 for Lando last time out in clean air. Now, of course, that is him in clean air, and that was with a DRS. So we'll keep an eye on this lap in particular to see how they're managing their tyres. And well, Piastri has had clean air from the outset. We did say this was going to be a race that was decided on tyre management, but for Lando, he has had to fight his way back up into P2 after a very poor start to this race and losing P2 to Max Verstappen, as that was indeed an overtake by Liam Lawson on Gabriel Bortoletto in the RB car, as he's up in P9. So Max comes out into P8 there, on a fresh set of soft tyres, no doubt saving that one set of mediums that he has available for his last stints, and he comes out behind Isaac Hadjar. So a nice gap for the Red Bull driver there. We'll see how he gets on, as Alonso's been noted for rejoining unsafely. Oh dear, Alonso currently down in 11th at the moment, still yet to make a pit stop. He has Bortoletto and Lawson ahead of him, so Alonso has lost a bit of time. I wonder if he's rejoining unsafely was why he potentially lost a couple of positions there. But with 15 on the 15th lap of this race, 52 laps remaining here at the Spanish Grand Prix, it is Piastri leading from Lando Norris, 4.1 seconds last time out. Lando Norris was 1/10 quicker than that of Piastri, so not the largest of margins, but 1/10 quicker. Charles Leclerc is in P3 as Verstappen goes quickest in the last sector, of course, on a brand new fresh set of softs, but he needs to make this set of softs last. Is it potentially a free stopper here today, guys? That'll be intriguing to see, as these first pit stops have come quite earlier than expected. But yes, as Colapinto dives into the pit lane as well, he's going to be losing a few positions. He'll be looking to try and come out ahead of Carlos Sainz as Max goes fastest in the first sector. Isaac Hadjar is up ahead of him. Oh, I don't think Hadjar's going to fight Max too harshly, because he is not his race today. We're still yet to make a pit stop. But Charles Leclerc, last lap, last time around, was a 1:21.341, and that just shows how the pace difference at the moment between the McLarens and the rest of the field, as Charles Leclerc was 7 tenths slower than the McLarens up front. Lewis Hamilton, a 22.3 for him, and well, Leclerc is he's fighting Max Verstappen today for that last podium position. So we'll see how he gets on. That is really where Max Verstappen is fighting for today. Martin, welcome to the pit crew. Much appreciated. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Over 10,000 viewers right now. Hit that like button. Let's get a stream to over 1,000 likes, guys. Be much appreciated. As 16 laps into this race, Oscar Piastri leads from Lando Norris. 4.1 seconds is the gap, as Oscar was a tenth quicker than Lando last time around. Of course, they're trying to hit that first pit stop window, as Verstappen did set the fastest lap of the race after just coming out of the pits. Charles Leclerc is up 4 positions into P3, with Lewis Hamilton in P4, with team orders, belayed team orders for Leclerc and Hamilton, as Leclerc got caught behind Hamilton for a good 4-5 laps, and then finally was allowed to be let past. Different strategy options today for the two Ferraris. Potential podium on the cards for Charles Leclerc after he started 7th today, as Alonso has been reviewed for no further investigation for rejoining unsafely, as he is into the pit lane at this moment in time and will be coming out behind Colapinto and Sainz. The undercut is powerful. It does look inviting here today, guys, but it is not that powerful because of the high deg that we see here. It will even itself out as we get to the end of this race. George Russell is in P5, down a position, as Kimi Antonelli is where he started in P6. Max Verstappen has made a pit stop, the first driver out of the top 7 to make a pit stop. He is trying to chase down Kimi Antonelli, who is 2.3 seconds behind. Hadjar is up 1 position in P8, as Liam Lawson is in P9, up 4 positions as well, with a couple of those drivers who are ahead of him already making their early pit stop in this potential 2-stop strategy race, maybe even a 3-stop, as Hamilton dives into the pit lane. So we'll see where he comes out, as he is probably going to lose positions here. Bortoletto is in up 2 positions into P10, as Ocon is up 5 places into 11th, still yet to make a pit stop. And then the remainder of the field has already made their first pit stop of this race. Gasly is in P12 on a set of softs. Hulkenberg, who was up 5 positions at the first part of this race, is on a set of mediums in this middle stint in 13th. Behrman is 14th on a set of mediums. Tsunoda's in 15th after starting from the pit lane. He's up 4 positions at the moment. Albon is 16th, Sainz 17th, Colapinto 18th, and Alonso, well, even with him going that long on the first stint there, that's a very slow, that's very poorly done by not Lewis Hamilton, for Fernando Alonso, as Lewis Hamilton reports on the radio. That's a long way to go when he pit in here. So another quick pit stop by the Ferrari team, 2.2 seconds, something they've been very good at this season, but Lewis Hamilton concerned about the strategy call by Ferrari as he's called into the pits there. We'll see how this plays out for him. Of course, he only has 1 set of mediums, unlike his teammate who has 2 sets of mediums available. But yes, Piastri and Norris last time around. So Piastri is actually gaining a little bit of time in the last couple of laps to Norris, as Verstappen does get past Kimi Antonelli there with that extra level of grip, which we saw so often in F2, where it is possible to overtake around turn 12. So Charles Leclerc is dipping into the pits as well. So early pit stops here, you do suspect, for the Ferrari team. Of course, Charles Leclerc has the luxury of 2 brand new sets of mediums, though. So Lewis Hamilton more concerned because he has to go onto a set of softs at the end of this race, as Leclerc is told full push now, and that's what I'm doing already, Charles Leclerc was reporting back onto the radio. Oscar is second, coming off 1 Max Verstappen. Not necessarily, as Piastri goes fastest again in fastest for him today in the first sector of 23.795. So maybe some push laps coming now from McLaren. But I do suspect they're going to go a bit longer, as they are the better on their tyres. They're considerably quicker than everyone else at the moment. Next best out there is Max Verstappen, but he's on 4-lap-old soft tyres doing 20s, whereas Piastri and Norris are on 17-lap-old softs and they're doing high 20s. So let's keep an eye on this lap time from Oscar Piastri as he makes his way across the start-finish line. And well, it's a 20.6 at the moment, and that's pretty consistent with the previous few laps, as Alonso gets past Colapinto. Norris does a 20.9. So at the moment, it is Lando Norris who got stuck in that dirty air for a few extra laps, of course, after losing the position down into turn 1 from Max Verstappen. Maybe he's taken too much life out of his tyres, and Oscar Piastri is starting to extend that lead at the front, as Lando's tyres are just starting to fall off a little bit. Or is this Lando Norris aiming for a different lap time? Is Piastri potentially taking too much out of his tyres? We will see as we extend this first stint, no doubt, and as the race progresses, as Fernando Alonso sets the fastest first sector out of anyone in turn P18 at the moment, as Hamilton gets past Lawson as Lawson dips into the pit lane. So we're starting to see those drivers still out there on the softs now, making their first pit stop. Bortoletto stays out there. Where is Lawson going to rejoin? Lawson's going to come out behind Alex Albon, I think. So as we mentioned, the undercut very powerful here at first glance, but it's not necessarily in the overall view of the race. As Hamilton is still asking, why did you pull me in so early? We are protecting from a possible undercut from behind. I'm not sure I agree with that, Ferrari. Are you protecting from an undercut behind? I don't think that's necessary, but we'll see how that plays out for Ferrari. But as I just mentioned, the undercut is kind of invalidated as the race goes on, because it's possible to overtake here and you want fresher rubber at the end of the race. But we'll see how that plays out for Ferrari, who have already their strategy has already been called into question by delaying the team orders of Leclerc on Lewis Hamilton earlier on in this race. They should have called it about 5 laps prior to when they actually did. As Leclerc is looking for a podium today, his fight is no doubt with Max Verstappen, as Max Verstappen is up into P3. So Hadjar's now into the pits as well, so let's see where he rejoins. He was ahead of his teammate at the time, around 7 seconds ahead. Let's see where he will come out of. He was fighting Gasly, but Gasly pitted very early there and has made up quite a considerable amount of time. Gasly, Piastri and Norris though, gap at the front, and you can see there, yes, Piastri around 3 tenths at the moment quicker per lap, 2 tenths minimum per lap quicker than his teammate Lando Norris, as that gap has now gone up to 5.2 seconds. But Max Verstappen closing the gap on both the McLarens at the moment, as he pitted early. He's on 6-lap-old softs, 20.2 for him last time around. So he's gaining 6 tenths on Oscar Piastri per lap, and even more so on Lando Norris, who he did get overtaken by before he made his pit stop, as Fernando Alonso just made an unbelievable pass around the outside of Franco Colapinto. The extra level of grip there available to him in that Aston Martin, just doing wonders as he got past Carlos Sainz as well, as he's up into P16 at this moment in time, as Lawson comes out ahead of Fernando Alonso. Those two have history, of course, if you remember last year in Circuit of the Americas. Lawson called too aggressive, of course. As Russell dives into the pit lane now, and 22 laps done on this, 21 laps done on this set of soft compound tyres. He started on used tyres, so that's why it indicates more laps conducted there than the actual laps we have done in this race. 21 laps. We're on a 21st lap right now, with Piastri leading from Lando Norris, 5.6 seconds. At this moment in time, with Verstappen in P3, closing down that gap, 19.8 last time around, which looks very good on paper, but will he be able to last at that pace? We will see. Esteban Ocon also into the pit lane as well. So nearly everyone has made their first pit stop. Piastri is being told, asked, how far do you think we can go? Lap 25 possible. Possible, but difficult, is what Piastri has just responded back to McLaren. So we'll probably see pit stops from the McLarens. Only those two, Piastri, Norris and Antonelli, yet to make their first pit stop in this race as we cross the start-finish line for the 22nd time. Piastri leads 5.7 seconds as Norris dives into the pit lane. So Norris pulls the trigger first, and well, he has been losing quite a considerable amount of time to Piastri in this first stint, at the end of this first stint. So Norris has been pulled in first, whereas Piastri has been left out there. So let's see where they come out. Verstappen inherits P2, and he may inherit P. He's within that pit stop window of Piastri, so he will inherit P1, as Piastri will go. I mean, the overcut, I think, is more powerful here than the undercut. The undercut looks very good on paper, but when you actually get to it, when the tyre fall off, as we have seen already, just from Max Verstappen and the McLaren's times there, we can see that Piastri a 21.4 last time around compared to Verstappen's 19.9. That's that's 1.5 seconds advantage there. Verstappen is also going to see that flip at some point also. As Lando rejoins in P3, Kimi Antonelli's out of the pits now, so it's only our leader, Oscar Piastri, still yet to make a pit stop, and no doubt he is going to be diving into the pit lane this time around. But 22.5 seconds was the rough pit stop loss window for here today at the Spanish Grand Prix, and well, Verstappen is well within that, as he is 17 seconds behind Oscar Piastri at this moment in time, as he does indeed dive into the pit lane. And I guess really for McLaren and Oscar Piastri in particular is, how will that gap be between him and Lando Norris? It was 5.7 seconds when Lando dived into the pit lane. How has Lando Norris been able to do here on his outlap? There will be definite words over the radio if Lando Norris is able to undercut his teammates. But it seems to be a decent pit stop for Oscar Piastri. And well, Lando Norris, as he heads down the start-finish straight here and Piastri makes his way out of the pit lane, let's see what the gap is as they head down into turn one. And well, Lando Norris, the gap is exactly Oh, nearly. He's gained a couple of temps on Piastri there. So Piastri will be happy with that. Oh, it's just snuck under 5 temps there. It's just stuck under 5 seconds. So maybe around a second there with the lap undercut of the lap earlier where he had the temperature into his tyres. Norris has been able to gain on Piastri. But around the 5-second mark, Piastri won't be too upset with that, of course, with a lap fresher set of tyres. But with everyone now making their first round of pit stops, all, of course, at different stages of this race, and now on varying strategy options in this 2-stop race today. Verstappen leads from Oscar Piastri by 5.6 seconds, but he pitted 9 laps prior to Oscar Piastri here, and he's on the soft compound tyre, whereas Piastri is on the medium. Lando Norris is 4.5 seconds back from his teammate after he regained P2 at the time from Max Verstappen after losing it down into turn 1. He's in P3. Charles Leclerc is P4 at the moment on the medium compound tyre, and he has another set of mediums available to him at the end of this race. We'll see how that plays out for him. Currently 5 seconds behind Lando Norris. Lewis Hamilton is in P5. He thinks he's been pitted too early, so we'll see how that plays out for him. He will have to go onto the soft compound tyre. As Lewis Hamilton's lap time will be reinstated. Not entirely sure what occurred there, but George Russell trying to chase down his former teammate Lewis Hamilton with a purple last lap there on a brand new set of medium compound tyres, as Kimi Antonelli is coming unstuck at the moment behind Pierre Gasly on his outlap. It's on his second lap here on this set of medium compound tyres. No doubt will be an easy overtake for Antonelli on the Frenchman, who is on 15 lap old softs. Let's keep an eye on that. It'll be an easy DRS, no doubt, as he's 2.5 temps back from Pierre Gasly, looking to regain P7. And Antonelli, who has had a bit of an uneventful race at this moment in time, is down in P7. Lost a position, of course, to Charles Leclerc at the start of the race. And Antonelli, easy DRS overtake for him, is up into P7. George Russell is in P6, as we mentioned, chasing down Lewis Hamilton. 1.8 seconds is the gap now to his former teammate. Pierre Gasly down in 8th place at the moment, as Alex Albon is in P13, fighting Yuki Tsunoda, fighting Liam Lawson as they went side by side through turn 1 there and through turn 3. Liam Lawson and Alex Albon. Alex Albon, who is not been quite at the races today, but good racing there, side-by-side action by Albon and Liam Lawson. Alonso is in P15, Sainz in P16, Colapinto 17th, Bortoletto 18th, and Esteban Ocon is in 19th. Yuki Tsunoda, who pitted quite early on, is up into P12 and started from the pit lane, so we'll see how that plays out for him. But yes, the gap at the front, Piastri 5.7 seconds back from Max Verstappen, and he's in clean air. Maybe that's why Red Bull pitted Max a little bit earlier, to try and utilise some clean air, which we know clean air is king, as Norris does set the fastest lap of his race today, a 19.8, as Piastri did a 19.9. Interesting times here in this race, guys. Strategy playing a key factor here in this race. We have 42 laps remaining. If you can hit the subscribe button, it'd be much appreciated. Trying to hit 45,000 subs. We've got over 46,000 now. Thank you. Much appreciated. Of course, we'll be back in a couple of weeks' time for Montreal, as Tsunoda now pits for his second pit stop of this race. That is very early. He's already made, so this is a free stopper for Yuki. Is this potential? As Albon says, Liam pushed him off. He needs to give the position back, Liam Lawson. So they went, I missed that, apologies, but apparently Lawson and Albon went side by side into turn 1, and Albon says he pushed him off, and Lawson says he needs to give the position back. We'll see if anything is investigated there in relation to that, and I need to see a replay of who was actually ahead of who. Ooh. Bit racy out there, guys. Bit racy as Lawson has got back past Alex Albon. And Albon has lost, as that is right on cue, under investigation, as I'm watching the replay of the actual proper overtake. Now, oh my goodness, there's contact. Albon's damaged his front wing again. That's why he's dropped further back down. Alex Albon decided to not give up the position, and he has just broken his front wing end plate as a result. That allowed Fernando Alonso to sneak by, and Alex Albon's weekend has gone from bad to worst, as he'll have to potentially, well, will he have to pit? We have seen, of course, that happen before, where you lose a front wing end plate and you're absolutely okay. It sometimes actually improves the car. But watching the replay now, and just to see exactly if there was sufficient room left, it did look like the corner was Lawson's, as we're watching the move down into turn 1. And, well, Lawson was ahead at the apex, so yes, Albon should have given the position back, personally, to Liam Lawson. He was good on the brakes, and as the letter of the law is, technically it's his corner, as he was on the inside. But then the second time around, when they went side by side, Liam Lawson, let's see what occurred like next time around. He went around the outside, left, plenty of room was left, and it seems like Albon just kept it too tight to Liam Lawson. Liam Lawson could not have been any closer to the curb if you tried, and Albon's just basically misjudged it, kept his wheel in a bit too close, and he's lost his front wing end plate as a result there. So yeah, a bit of feisty action, of course, with the drivers out there, as Albon has now lost time to Sainz, and I think Alex Albon here, I'm surprised there's not maybe a VSC from debris, so maybe the debris has moved away from the racing line there. That could potentially cause some punctures later on in this race, so we'll keep tuned on that, guys, as the drivers make their way through turn 1 and turn 2. But Albon has lost a bit of time here. He's in P15 at the moment, and no doubt with him losing a position to Alonso, to Sainz, he will probably have to pit for a new front wing if they have one available. They might not have any remaining, of course. But Verstappen leads 4.2 seconds ahead of Oscar Piastri here with 40 laps remaining, as 10-second time penalty for Albon, leaving the track and gaining an advantage. I mean, can it get any worse for Albon? It can indeed, because not only has he had front wing damage, not once, but twice. He's pitting for the second time here for a new front wing if it's available to him. He also has a 10-second time penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage, as Liam Lawson was ahead at the apex. So we'll see if they decide to retire that car. We may see so, of course. Very limited running for Albon in that Williams here this weekend, and by far his worst performance of this season thus far, as he has been doing tremendously well. As I watched Isaac Hadjar make a move on, or make an attempt on Pierre Gasly, fair racing room was left for them, as Hadjar did eventually get past Pierre Gasly as he swooped around the outside. Brilliant racing by the two Frenchmen who watched the Champions League final together last night to watch PSG win 5-0. As Albon does come back out, so they do have a front wing for Alex Albon. I think he'll still have to take that 10-second time penalty as well. I'm not sure they took that in the pit lane because it came through as he was entering the pit lane. So yes, it will probably be added to the end of his race if he's able to make it there, but still on the same set of tyres, 20 lap old tyres, so he'll probably have to take that the next time around. As Albon and Lawson noted causing a collision. I don't think that should be necessarily penalised, but we'll see what the stewards decide to rule. Max Verstappen, though, is leading from Oscar Piastri. 3.5 seconds is that gap now, as Max Verstappen's lap times are starting to drop off here, as you can see. Last time around on 14 lap old softs, a 20.6 compared to Piastri's 19.7. Norris, 4.6 seconds back from his teammate, keeping the gap consistent at the moment. Slightly slower than his teammate is Piastri. Has Piastri have the pace on his teammate? I think so at the moment, unless Lando is just trying to look after these tyres a bit more as well. They just trade in fastest laps there, as Lando did a 19.799 compared to Piastri's 19.9. So pretty equal footing for the two McLaren drivers, as Leclerc is trying to close down on Lando Norris, and I think he has done. That gap was over 5 seconds not too long ago. It's 4.8 seconds at the moment. He's eyeing for a podium today, and that is potentially on the cards with another set of mediums available to him. Tell you what, Nico Hülkenberg down in P9 at the moment. He is up 6 positions. He's just set the fastest first sector out of anyone. As Max Verstappen reports, it's so hard to drive like. I can't brake and I have no turning in low speed. So that is definitely tyre issues and a lack of grip from tyre management from the Red Bull, which we did suspect would be a factor here, as that gap has dropped by almost a second again. It's 2.5 seconds Piastri to Verstappen now. And you think, most definitely, it is when, not if, Piastri overtakes Max Verstappen, struggling in that Red Bull, but he needs to try and eke out. Is it a free stop here today for the Red Bull? We'll see. As Albon has come back into the pits to serve that 10-second time penalty, you do suspect, as Yuki Tsunoda makes an overtake on Colapinto down into turn 1, as there's no further action for Alex Albon and Liam Lawson causing a collision. And well, right on cue, Max Verstappen has dived into the pit lane. He's got 37 laps left, and I'll tell you what, that's a fair old distance he's going to have to go on a set of medium compound tyres. We'll see if he's able to do it, but this could potentially be a free stopper here today. As we've seen, Yuki Tsunoda already make 2 stops, and now the Red Bull of Max Verstappen. So are they committing to that 2-stop, as there's a 10-second time penalty served for Alex Albon? So he is not coming back out, Alex Albon. So I think Alex Albon has retired from this race. So they've served a 10-second time penalty to ensure that they do not have to serve it at the next race, which is Montreal in Canada. And, well, Alex Albon, I think, has run out of front wings and has decided to pit. Very, very poor weekend for the Williams driver, as Carlos Sainz is in 14th, and it's not an overall good weekend for Williams. But very long way to still go in this race. There is still points on offer, potentially, for the Williams team. But Max Verstappen comes out ahead of Lewis Hamilton. And that will be music, potentially, to the Ferrari's ears with Charles Leclerc, as he has another set of mediums to go. He is 4.8 seconds back from Lando Norris. He's actually lapping the same lap times as the McLarens at the moment, a 19.9. So very good pace from Charles Leclerc at the moment. And I'll tell you what, all it would take, potentially, is maybe a safety car, a safety car to bunch these filled up. And Charles Leclerc could very well be within this race and fighting for those first and second place positions with the McLaren, something that we didn't really suspect from the Ferraris this weekend. Seems to be that they have a much better race car than they do a quali car. Alex Albon said they were going to be cooked on this track, but what the heck, that's burnt and crispy. It is indeed. It is indeed. But guys, if you're liking the stream, big thank you. Hit the like button. Over 1,000 likes now. We've had over 12 members today. Big thank you. Norris has been reported and Verstappen has pitted. That means he's on a free stop. We're happy with our plan, is what Will, his engineer, has just reported to Norris. No response from Norris. So yes, confirmation there from the McLaren pit wall that it is a free stop for the Red Bull of Max. We'll see how that plays out for him. 37 laps is just too long to go on that set of mediums, and he'll probably use another set of softs. The problem here this weekend, ladies and gentlemen, is that the hard compound tyre has not been a good race tyre. They used it in practice, and it wasn't suitable. As Yuki Tsunoda is looking for an overtake on... sorry, not Yuki Tsunoda, it's Liam Lawson. I've got the wrong colour there. Liam Lawson looking for a move on Ollie Bearman, and he's getting punchy out here today. He is currently on 10-lap-old fresher medium compound tyres. He's trying to utilise that grip and get ahead of Ollie Bearman, who's in P11. Lawson smells points here today with his teammate up in P8. He's made a couple of good overtakes on Alex Albon. One of them, of course, was held onto by Alex Albon, which meant he received a 10-second time penalty, which he has now served, as Verstappen sets the fastest lap of the race of 1:18.12. Hamilton reports, just no grip, mate. The rear is nowhere today. Understood, is what his engineer replies to him. So Hamilton struggling with the setup of that Ferrari, it seems. So, yeah, not got a handle on it compared to Charles Leclerc, it seems, as Charles Leclerc is doing very well and lapping the same lap times as the McLarens, right in between them at the moment, as Lando had a bit of a slower lap last time out, a 20.3. As... apologies, Liam Lawson and Ollie Bearman, when I said they went side by side, there was contact between the two of them down into turn one. Oh, Bearman, when I said Lawson was getting feisty, well, he's made contact again. Just watching the replay to see what occurred as Lawson is going for a move as Gasly dives into the pit lane. I'm trying to watch both at the same time. Lawson went for the move. He was never quite alongside him. It was front wheel to rear wheel. Lawson trying to scare Bearman out of a position, causing a collision and noted. I mean, it's wheel on wheel. I don't think really it should be penalised, to be honest with you. Both drivers are okay and they're still racing. Lawson just a little bit too far back from Bearman that time around to make another opportunity. But yes, Lawson within track limits. He did hit the rear wheel of Bearman. We'll see. We'll see how the stewards view that. Will they give him a warning, or will it be an actual 5-second time penalty or 10-second time penalty? We'll see. But Ollie Bearman is still okay. He's out there. We do know that they do like to, generally, the stewards, they like to penalise based on the result, necessarily not on the intention, but we'll see how that occurs. Fernando Alonso up into P12 now, as we saw Pierre Gasly make his second pit stop of the race. So we're seeing some drivers already commit to this free stop. We can suspect really that it's only maybe the McLarens and the Haas's who have two mediums available to them, who will be on the two stop today potentially. Lewis Hamilton is going to try and do the two stop, but he's already complaining about rear instability as he is being chased down by his former teammate George Russell, but he is not really able to gain that much as he's heading into the dirty air of Lewis Hamilton. But Max Verstappen, quickest driver out there at the moment on a brand new set of fresh medium tyres, a 23.2 for him, purple in the first sector. And, well, he is closing down Charles Leclerc. But, of course, very different strategies today for Ferrari and Max Verstappen. Max still yet to make a second pit stop, no doubt, with Charles Leclerc. Third pit stop with Charles Leclerc. Yet to make his second pit stop and trying to go long on this second stint as Colapinto is lapped. The first driver to be lapped here. Colapinto, not a good return for him in the Alpine at the moment, is it? As he's well off the pace. As Verstappen reports, it's again like I have no clutch while upshifting. 1973 GP report. 1973 GP asks back to Max Verstappen with his quote last week. It feels like I'm driving in Monaco 1973. And Max reports, nah, 74. Good banter on the radio from Max Verstappen and GP there. Even when they're struggling, they still provide some decent banter on the radio. What happened to Alex Albon today? Alex Albon, he got caught with front wing damage early on, which meant that he had to pit for a new front wing. He then had contact with Liam Lawson. He should have backed out of the corner but didn't, and had more front wing damage. And I think they've run out of front wings for Alex Albon. So yes, he has received also a 10-second time penalty for holding onto the position from Liam Lawson, which he then served. So Albon has retired from this race as Carlos Sainz has just been overtaken by Gabriel Bortoleto. 10-lap fresher tyres though, Bortoleto on Carlos Sainz there, but Williams really struggling here this weekend overall. And, well, Hulkenberg is in up 6 positions, up into P8 at the moment. No further action for Lawson and Behrman there. It was a bit cheeky by Liam Lawson, but because Behrman got away with it, I think that is why Liam Lawson has got away without a penalty there. Wishful thinking from Lawson. Tried to spook Behrman, but Behrman had none of it. And yes, we'll see maybe Lawson have another attempt on Behrman very, very shortly. As Verstappen is being told, 33 laps remaining. All to play for. So they're still quite positive with Max Verstappen at the moment on the radio. As Esteban Ocon is now catching Carlos Sainz. So Carlos Sainz really falling through the pack here as he's soft compound tyres. It does seem to be around 20 laps is the cliff really for these softs. As Sainz, 22.2 last time around, he is losing time hand over fist. And maybe this is where Williams decide to pit Sainz. Let's see if he dives into the pit lane here. He does indeed, yes. Losing time considerably there. It was very noticeable. As Liam Lawson finally gets past Behrman into turn 1. Does seem to be with that incident, and Liam Lawson is now up into the points, 1 position back behind his teammate. As Norris is told, Lando Leclerc is 4.9, Verstappen is 8. As Verstappen will be our race, keep finding some pace. So Norris, they think Verstappen could be coming on strong at the end. We'll see, as Verstappen is now overtaking Charles Leclerc with DRS open, with that 12-lap fresher medium compound tyre. Gets past Charles Leclerc, nice and easy does it, into turn 1. And Charles Leclerc, no use in him fighting at this moment in time in this race because he's on a completely different strategy to Max Verstappen, and that's a smart decision there as he sets the fastest first sector out of anyone. Max Verstappen a 23.1 at this moment in time. Last lap was a 19.1, whereas Norris was a 19.854. Oscar Piastri a 20.1 for him last time around. So Oscar Piastri's lap times, we'll see, that gap has come down a little bit from Oscar Piastri to Lando Norris. And, well, is this Piastri maybe just hitting the dirty air of the lap traffic ahead? He is close behind Pierre Gasly, and we know how far back the dirty air can be felt in these very hang on. If we can push the tyre a little bit more in turn 3, turn 9. I can't push. My front left is grained and I'm just understeering at the moment. So graining on the front left for the McLarens, it seems, as Behrman dives into the pit lane. 27 laps on that medium compound tyre. But with graining on these tyres, guys, it is something that these drivers can work their way through. The graining period is just a phase, and then once they get through it, the grip does come back to them. So maybe that's what they're seeing at the moment. But Piastri definitely getting caught up in the dirty air of Pierre Gasly at this moment in time. You can see there, 3.5 seconds is the gap now to Piastri and Lando Norris. As blue flags are finally waved for Pierre Gasly for Oscar Piastri. But Piastri has lost quite an important amount of time there to Lando, as that gap was around 4.5 seconds not too long ago. as we'll see whether Gasly needs to get out of the way pretty sharpish. I think it's around 4 corners or so. They only have a specific amount of time, but they have to get out of the way. As Oscar Piastri, 3.1 seconds is the gap to Lando. We'll see if Lando's going to be able to capitalise, as that first sector was 4 tenths quicker than that, or 3.5 tenths quicker than that of Oscar Piastri, as Gasly finally moves out of the way for Piastri down into turn 10. And will Lando Norris be able to get a easier time of it with Pierre Gasly, as he'll be approaching him, no doubt, down into turn 1, guys? Max needs to pass Colapinto and stabilise. If he keeps the gap to Piastri, they might need a pit stop. Yes, well, this is the thing, is that what will Red Bull be doing? This is the question. Are they still going to stick to that 1-2 stop? Are they going to go to the end of this race and go for track position and make the McLarens overtake them out on track? Or are they going to go for the free stop? We will see. It's very intriguing times here, as Sainz is on the back of Colapinto, fighting for the last place. Pretty much last place is there, 17th and 18th at the moment. Sainz, easy DRS pass on Colapinto. He has 20 lap fresher medium tyres and gets the move done before they even head down into turn 1. But you can see there, as Norris has been told to pick up the pace, he has, and well, with a bit of lap traffic, Piastri has lost a considerable amount of time. 2.8 seconds is the gap to Norris and Gasly now. But Gasly will be given, Gasly will be given blue flags for Lando Norris, very sharpish, but you can see there, Lando starting to lose a bit of time as well to Pierre Gasly, to his teammate with Pierre Gasly's dirty air, as George Russell has been told to close the gap now, as he's 1.8 seconds back from Lewis Hamilton. He's been comfortably sitting behind Lewis with 4 lap fresher tyres, and he's just been told to close that gap, so we'll see how they get on. But you can see there, Norris has just lost 4 tenths alone in the middle sector, 32.389 compared to Piastri's 32.0 there, with the dirty air of Pierre Gasly. And well, Pierre Gasly only needs to move out of the way once he's been given blue flags. And Lando Norris will receive DRS though. We'll see as he heads down into turn 1. Yes, you can see DRS open, so he'll get a little bit of an assistance there, but that is how important clean air is, as Tsunoda gets past Esteban Ocon into P13 on a fresh set of softs. Norris, 2.8 seconds, but ultimately though, Lando Norris has gained with that little bit of traffic on Pierre Gasly, as that gap is 2.8 seconds now to Oscar Piastri. And well, they're now approaching Ocon and Tsunoda and Bortoletto, as Norris, 2.6 seconds. He was 4 tenths quicker, half a second quicker almost, than Piastri in that first sector. And well, Oscar Piastri, what did he have, a wobble for that first sector? I know Lando had DRS there, but that is a tremendous amount of time. Lando, purple in the first sector, has just gained on Oscar Piastri. So we'll see, is Piastri starting to struggle on these mediums or not, or is it just the fact that he is starting to feel the dirty air from Ocon ahead? We know they can feel it as far back as 4 seconds, the dirty air from cars ahead. And well, it does seem like that Lando Norris is making use of that, as Oscar Piastri is starting to hit a little bit of a wall. But 2.8 seconds is the gap. Norris, of course, will be feeling the dirty air of his own teammate, but Max Verstappen is closing that gap all the while, as it is 4.8 seconds to Lando at this moment in time, as Piastri crosses the line with a 19.9 and Lando does a 19.449, whereas Verstappen did a 19.650. Of course, DRS assisted that time around, but will Norris be able to close down and utilise the lap traffic just like he did with Gasly on his teammate? Lewis, he's already on 21 laps of medium tyres. How come he expect grip? I know. Well, he's just obviously in a lonely race at the moment, but he is potentially solidifying a P5 for the teams. Keep it lubricated with some Monster, guys. Not sponsored. Monster, sponsor me. Guys, if you're liking the stream, hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you for all the subscribers, by the way, as well. 46,200. Thank you. Of course, we'll be sticking around after this race to keep an eye on what happened in this race. Of course, very strategy dependent at the moment. We're still not sure how this race is going to pan out with 27 laps remaining. Long way to go still. 40 laps have been completed, will be completed when Piastri crosses the start-finish line. But we're currently in this middle stint. We do suspect that some will still be making another pit stop. We're not entirely sure whether Verstappen is going to be committing to the free stop or taking this tyre to the end. But Lando Norris is gaining on his teammates. Piastri is not having a good time of it with the lap traffic, as that gap has now come down to 2.3 seconds. And, well, will Lando be able to gain on his teammate and make quick work of Esteban Ocon as Charles Leclerc now pits? And, well, Charles Leclerc is doing the two-stop today. He has, importantly, a fresh set of mediums available to him at the end of this race. So we'll stay tuned with Charles Leclerc, of course, and see how his race is going to pay out here as Colapinto comes into the pits again for what is his third pit stop, I believe. Kimi Antonelli in P7. But let's have a run. As Max Verstappen is told, McLaren are receiving, but they're at now max. They realise they have to push on. It's a long way to go for them. Ooh, so let's see what's going to occur here. So Max Verstappen is on a free stopper. Yeah, Max is on a free stopper. They're going aggressive here. That's what we want to see, ladies and gentlemen. We want to see an aggressive race here today. We want to see drivers on the attack, and that is definitely what Max Verstappen is going to be doing today, and Red Bull. Love to see it, as he's 4.4 seconds behind Piastri and Norris. So he's definitely closed up the gap with Piastri and Norris having to... What's very important here is that Piastri and Norris have yet to make their second pit stop, and Verstappen has closed a pit stop gap on both of the McLarens by doing an extra pit stop. So he's nullified that extra stop already, and it's going to be a full-on attack mode at the end, as Norris did make very quick work of Esteban Ocon. So he did lose 4 attempts there on Piastri, but he made quick work of him, a lot quicker work than Oscar Piastri, who is currently in the window now of Yuki Tsunoda. And I'm sure Yuki Tsunoda will wait at the very last minute to let Oscar Piastri by, as George Russell finally comes into the pit lane for his second pit stop. But Charles Leclerc put green for him in the middle sector there. We'll keep an eye on his lap time as he came out ahead of Antonelli, as Yuki Tsunoda does let Oscar Piastri by. Maybe that was the last moment that he had to let him by. I thought he may hold on to him a little bit longer. Of course, he wants to do it to help his own teammate, as George Russell goes on to the softs to the end of this race. But let's have a rundown of this current standings with 25 laps remaining in the Spanish Grand Prix, guys. It is Oscar Piastri leading 2.5 seconds from Lando Norris and 4 seconds from, 6.5 seconds ahead of Verstappen. Verstappen is 4 seconds back from Lando Norris as they're making their way through lap traffic. And of course, Max Verstappen has made an extra pit stop, but he's nullified the extra pit stop already, pretty much, with those front two yet to make another one. Hamilton is in P4. He's most likely going to make another pit stop as well, as he's already done 25 laps on this set of mediums. Charles Leclerc is on the brand new set of mediums now, going to the end of this race in P5, and will no doubt inherit P4. Is he an outside shot today of a podium? We will keep an eye out on those gaps. Antonelli's in P6. He's ahead of his teammate at the moment, but no doubt will be making another pit stop himself, with George Russell in P7. Isaac Hadjar is in P8. Nico Hulkenberg is up 6 positions in P9, and that is on merit, ladies and gentlemen. That is not a fluke. Good performance from him today. Liam Lawson is up 3 places in P10 as well. That's also on merit. Some good overtaking by Liam Lawson today out on track. Alonso is again looking like he's going to fall just short of his first points of the F1 season. Is he the unluckiest driver on the F1 grid right now? You guys can let me know in chat. Bortoletto in P12 where he started. Tsunoda is up 6 places right now, committed to the free stop very early on after starting from the pit lane. A good recovery for him, but of course hampered by that poor qualifying yesterday. Ocon is up 2 places in P14. Gasly, a biggest loser at the moment, down in P15, but you do suspect he'll be moving his way back up the standings when those ahead of him make their second pit stop. Ollie Behrman is P16 at the moment. Sainz is P17. A poor day for Carlos Sainz and the Williams team, with Colapinto in 18th and Albon. The only retirement today, with Stroll, of course, withdrawing before the race began, as George Russell goes fastest in the first sector, as he is on a brand new set of soft compound tyres. But Max Verstappen, 4.1 seconds back from Lando Norris, and Lando Norris is 3 seconds back from Piastri now. So they've cleared a bit of dirty air as Alonso is into the pits, and he's out of the pits actually now, and he comes out. Can he stay ahead of Carlos Sainz as they head down into turn 1? Of course, the 2 homegrown drivers, not where they want to be. Of course, they wish they were fighting for the points right now, but Sainz comes out ahead of Fernando Alonso. But with Alonso on a fresh set of softs, he no doubt will make quick work of Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz about to finish, unfortunately, for the first time in 10 years racing here at Spain. He's going to finish for the first time outside of the points, unless something dramatic happens in the closing 23 laps of this race. But yes, Lando Norris keeping that gap, well, Piastri keeping that gap around 3 seconds to Lando at the moment. As Alonso, there we go, makes quick work of Carlos Sainz there with that extra grip that he had out of turn 5 into turn 7. It's not often you see overtakes down there, but with that tyre offset there, Alonso made quick work of Carlos Sainz. The driver, Carlos Sainz, looked up to as a youngster. George Russell at a 1:18.437 for him, but he needs to be careful, of course, and look after his tyres. He's approaching his teammate Antonelli, and he will no doubt let him pass pretty quickly, or Antonelli will dive out of his way and maybe move into the pits himself. As Ocon dives into the pit lane, that promotes a few drivers up. Tsunoda's up into P12. It's a very long way for Tsunoda to go on this set of soft slow, so he'll probably have to make another pit stop as he let his teammate by Verstappen very comfortably. Norris clears Bortoleto, but loses a bit of time. As you can see, that gap has gone to 3.4 seconds, almost 3.5 seconds, Norris and Piastri now. When are those two going to pit? That is going to be the question. And of course, will Verstappen pit again, or will he try and eke these mediums out to the end? We will see. Will Red Bull try and hold track position? It's going to be very intriguing. If that is the case, then we're going to see a showdown at the end of the race with Piastri and Norris having to overtake Max Verstappen out on track. Maybe that's what Red Bull are going to do. McLaren are definitely on full push. We all think Red Bull are going to be doing the mediums to the end, but we'll see. We will see. He's going to doing his current. He's genuinely miles ahead of Colapinto. Norris just got screwed by Bortoleto. Yeah, well. Yeah, it's not ideal. Not ideal. As Lawson dives into the pit lane as well. Charles Leclerc does a 19.3 last time out on the mediums. And, well, his gap to Oscar Piastri is not within that pit stop window. 36 seconds, 36 and a half seconds is Charles Leclerc at the moment to Oscar Piastri. And, of course, it's a 22-second pit stop lost time here. As Yuki Tsunoda does actually come into the pit lane now. And, yes, we are starting to see those make their final pit stops with 21 laps remaining here, guys. Please extend tyre history. I can do slightly if you want to. Just bear with me. Only a little bit. I'm only going to do it to there. That's really all you need to know is the last pit stop that they were on. But yes, Piastri leads 4.6 seconds to Lando Norris now. So wow, Lando just lost a full second. What happened to Lando? Lando just lost a full second to Oscar Piastri last lap. Issue for Lando, maybe? Not entirely sure. He just lost 3 tenths in the first sector as well. So Lando has just lost a considerable amount of time to... He's losing time hand over fist here, Lando, on this lap. What has happened to Lando? Or has there been an order? Has there been a team order that's come through? Has Lando got to look after his tyres? We will see. But Oscar Piastri has just pulled that gap out to 5 seconds, while Lando just had a very, very slow 2 laps. A 20.4 last time around and a 20.0. And Oscar Piastri has just made up almost 2 seconds on Oscar in a single lap. What has happened there? As now Lando's girlfriend is confirmed on the TV as his partner, as her... lap cars cannot block the others. No, they cannot. Lap cars cannot. They have a certain amount of time when blue flags are raised before they have to move out of the way. Otherwise, they receive a penalty. Hamilton needs to pit. Yeah, Hamilton does. Is Lando going to defend Verstappen? I don't know. I mean, Lando seems to be losing a considerable amount of time. I'm waiting to hear if there's anything on the radio from Lando to see what is occurring. Maybe they're thinking, are they going to go for the one stop? Are they going to go for just the one stop here? Is that why he's dropped off the pace? Has he gone into tyre management phase? And is Oscar Piastri committing to a 2-stop? I really don't know what's occurring right now, but it's a considerable drop-off in pace it was from Lando Norris. Maybe Oscar Piastri just pushed a couple of extra laps to gain a bit of time on Lando, and now he is... as Hulkenberg gets past Bortoleto. By the way, how good is Hulkenberg? P9 on merit. Nico Hulkenberg. What a great result this looks like it's going to be for Nico Hulkenberg and Bortoleto. Bortoleto still looks like he has to pit again. Maybe he'll try and go to the end. But Hulkenberg looks like he is definitely on course to score points here today. What a up 6 positions. Great driving from Nico Hulkenberg as Verstappen pits. Oh, here we go. What do McLaren do, ladies and gentlemen? We have 19 laps remaining. Verstappen pits, and he is going to be on the charge at the end here. They're going for the undercut. 4.3 seconds was the gap to Verstappen and Norris. It was 9.7 seconds to Piastri, but we have seen Max Verstappen go on the charge early on in this race as Tsunoda has just done a 17.998 there down on a fresh set of softs. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, as Verstappen does it get out ahead of Yuki Tsunoda. Yuki, of course, will let him by pretty quickly as Esteban Ocon is there, of course, their lap cars, as Tsunoda does let Verstappen past. And, well, what do McLaren do? Do they respond? Do they respond or do they keep track position? You've got to respond here from Max Verstappen, surely, and cover off Max. But will the undercut work? We have seen the undercut be powerful initially here, but of course it is possible to overtake, and we've seen the overcut work just as well, if not better. But we know Max Verstappen will make that Red Bull car as wide as possible if he can get ahead of the McLarens. So let's see. Do they respond? No. Piastri extends. How about Lando? Do they bring Lando in to cover off Max Verstappen? Yes, they do. Lando is being brought in to cover off Max Verstappen. Interesting, but Piastri stays out and they've brought Lando in first. Lando was the first pitter last time around, and Max is on full attack mode right now. It's hammer time for Max Verstappen, and how is this outlap for him? Was he hampered by his teammate just coming out ahead of him down into turn one? But Max is on full attack mode right now, and you can see him coming around the last corner, and Max, as Lando Norris is making his way down the end of the pit lane, it's going to be neck and neck, I think, between the Dutchman and the Englishman as they head down into turn one. Max Verstappen has his tyres up to temperature, importantly, as well, as he did set the fastest last sector out of anyone, a 22.981. And well, Lando in that McLaren is going to be under attack from Max Verstappen this lap, you do presume, as you can see him there just around the 1 second mark, under a 1 second mark, and Lando has to get these tyres into the right temperature window here, while of course having to defend from Max Verstappen, and he's receiving the dirty air from Carlos Sainz ahead. How will Lando Norris fare here? Oscar Piastri, is he going to respond as Isaac Hadjar makes his way into the pit lane? Lewis Hamilton has pitted and he's on a set of softs now at the moment, and will be looking to secure a P5 here, but he has to chase down Antonelli and George Russell, as George Russell did the undercut on him, as Piastri does dive into the pit lane. So as we saw from the first pit stop, Piastri pits second after Lando Norris, so he has a 1 lap fresher tyres. Let's see how they fare here. Carlos Sainz is currently holding up Lando Norris and Max Verstappen and getting in the way of this fight here for P2, but Verstappen will be happily loving this. This is going to give him a nice little toe, a double toe potentially, out of the last corner. And he'll have DRS, but so will Lando Norris as they head down the start-finish straight. Carlos Sainz, who has had a poor showing here this weekend, is getting involved as Piastri comes out ahead of Norris and Verstappen and holds on to a 5-second lead almost as they get past Carlos Sainz down into turn one. And it is now a dash to the end of this race. 17 laps remaining of the Spanish Grand Prix. Max Verstappen, who really is in this race due to brilliant strategy decisions of the Red Bull team. They've done an extra stop than the McLarens, and Max is still on the charge on the rear of the McLarens and is on the attack for a P2 to try and close down the gap to Lando Norris. He is going to be losing points again and ground to Oscar Piastri, but he wants to minimise that, of course. The Red Bull hasn't been the strongest here this weekend when it comes to McLaren, but he has done tremendously well, and Red Bull have done tremendously well to present an opportunity to him. But how long can he stay in the dirty air of that McLaren? That is the question for Verstappen and Red Bull at the moment. And well, for Max Verstappen, it could potentially be this race, while he's going for P2, Charles Leclerc is on the medium compound tyre. How long can Max make that soft compound tyre last? And could we see Charles Leclerc sneak a podium at the end of this race on the longer lasting medium compound tyre, as he is 11.3 seconds behind from Max Verstappen? We will see. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, as we are approaching the closing stages of this Spanish Grand Prix. It's now to the finish line. Oscar Piastri leads from Lando Norris. 2.7 seconds is the gap as Piastri is now making his way through a lot of lap traffic. Verstappen is 1.3 seconds back from Lando Norris. He tried the undercut. It seems like it hasn't quite worked, but we know Max will try and get one better over his good friend Lando Norris, who has done so many times before. Charles Leclerc, 11.8 seconds back from Max Verstappen at the moment in P4. He's up 3 places. He's on the medium compound tyre to the end. Let's see if that lasts a lot longer than the soft compound tyre, which we have seen fall off a cliff a couple of times in this race already. George Russell is in P5 and he is ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton has been undercut as Verstappen is reporting that rather the car is completely broken. Max not happy and comfortable in that Red Bull this weekend. Hamilton, yes, can he chase down Russell? I don't think so. It looks like George Russell has got one better over Lewis Hamilton, but there's still 16 laps remaining, so maybe he can do. As Liam Lawson is looking to overtake Ollie Bearman again. And we've seen Liam Lawson get stuck into things today and make contact with Bearman and Alex Albon. And, well, could there be maybe a late safety car here to throw a spanner in the works? And Lando Norris will not be wanting to see Liam Lawson and Ollie Bearman go side-by-side into Turn 1. As they are side-by-side through Turn 1, there are blue flags thrown for both of them. They're still side-by-side through Turn 2. And Bearman and Lawson are still side-by-side as Norris wants to get past them. And Lawson backs out of it and lets Norris past. And Verstappen is all over the rear of Lando Norris now as the lap traffic is getting in the way of this race. It's allowing Oscar Piastri to break away from his teammate, and Bearman does get out of the way from Lando Norris, but that's allowed Verstappen to really close up under the rear wing of Lando. And how close will he be able to stay with him? He's lost a bit of traction out of Turn 5, and, well, Lando Norris there must have been effing and blinding on the radio as he saw Liam Lawson and Ollie Bearman go side by side through Turn 2. But of course, they're totally entitled to continue on their race, but with blue flags being waved, they have to do so within a certain amount of time. Let the faster cars through, otherwise they will be at risk of a penalty. But Liam Lawson is on the back of Ollie Bearman as they did go side-by-side for multiple corners. It was great racing. Lawson sent it down the inside and Bearman had to take to the escape road. So not entirely sure who was ahead at the apex there. Maybe Bearman was, I'm not sure. But we'll see as we'll stay with those three, actually, as Bearman and Lawson. Bearman's going to come under attack from Liam Lawson as they're looking to fight for the point scoring positions with Gasly not too far up ahead. Here goes Lawson again on Ollie Bearman down into Turn 1. I think he's got the move done much more comfortably this time, and he has indeed, as Lawson moves up into P11 and Fernando Alonso also hunting his first points of the F1 season gets past Bearman. Look at that from Fernando Alonso, the Spaniard, around the outside of Ollie Bearman. Unbelievable grip on the soft compound tyre, swoops around the Haas driver and is on the rear wing of Liam Lawson, and they'll be hunting down Pierre Gasly for that last point scoring position here. So still plenty of offer, still plenty to race for in this race. As Verstappen says, effing idiots. As I'm not sure who he was complaining about, to be perfectly honest with you. Maybe Ollie Bearman. Maybe he was complaining about the lap traffic, but he did massively benefit from it. But Piastri leads just under 3 seconds from Lando Norris at the moment. And, well, with only one more lap car really to get in the way to the end of this race, Piastri will be glad to see the back of Nico Hülkenberg, and then it's clean air to the end, you do presume. Lando Norris is in P2, 3 seconds back, with Verstappen 1.8 seconds back. Now, I think he importantly lost Verstappen just a little bit of time there out of the corner from Ollie Bearman. But he did benefit to some extent as he did get an opportunity to really close up on Lando. But Leclerc is in P4 at the moment, and it does seem like really, as leaving the track and gaining an advantage has been noted, Bearman and Lawson. So let's have a look at the replay and see who was ahead at the apex as Liam Lawson went down the inside. And that's Lawson's corner. Oh, Lawson's corner. But Lawson is back past Ollie Bearman. So I no doubt that penalty will not be given to Ollie Bearman because Lawson did regain the position the next lap. But Lawson has utilised the rules to his advantage a couple of times this race down into Turn 1 and has gained a good few positions because of it. He's currently up in P11 and chasing down Pierre Gasly to try and score his second points in a row after a good finish in Monaco. But yes, Piastri is 3.2 seconds ahead of Lando Norris as he gets past Nico Hülkenberg now. And, well, will he catch Isaac Hadjar by the end of the race? I'm not so sure. As that's just confirmation of Bearman and Lawson leaving the track and gaining an advantage. Charles Leclerc, yes, on those medium compound tyres, it looks like that he's probably not going to gain the time on Verstappen and that podium position that he was potentially hoping for today. He is going to fall short. I say just short of it. He's going to fall 15 seconds or so more than that of Max Verstappen, short of it. George Russell is in P5, and, well, how is he in relation to Lewis Hamilton? The lap times, well, Lewis is gaining slightly, but it does seem like that he will be able to hold on to that top 5. And Lewis Hamilton, who has complained about his Ferrari today in race trim, is going to finish in P6 as Bortoleto is looking to overtake Bortoleto, who is, by the way, he is unlapping himself from Charles Leclerc. As there's a double yellow, Antonelli's gone off at turn 10. There's a double yellow and Antonelli has gone off at turn 10. There's a lot of room out there. Is this another mechanical issue for Kimi Antonelli? And could we see a late safety car here with 12 laps remaining? His car has stopped. There is no gravel, I believe, on the outside. It's a safety car with 12 laps remaining. 12 laps remaining, and we have a full safety car in the closing stages of the Spanish Grand Prix. And well, we are in for an absolute brainstormer of a closing stage of the Spanish Grand Prix. What has happened to Kimi Antonelli? And he has gone off into the gravel. His engine's smoking, and that's 3 race weekends in a row when the Mercedes engine has gone poof, ladies and gentlemen. The Mercedes, as Toto Wolff shakes his head, effing and blinding, and well, Kimi Antonelli, no fault of his own, moves the car off into the gravel as, yes, smoke billows out of the back of that Mercedes car. Mercedes, as drivers dive into the pit lane, they want a fresh set of boots, of course, for this safety car restart. Oscar Piastri dives into the pits. It's a double stack for McLaren, and well, could Max Verstappen here potentially get out ahead of Lando Norris? And I think maybe he could have done. Let's see as they head down to the pit lane. Oh no, Norris with the double stack does get ahead of Max Verstappen. They had just enough to get out ahead of Max Verstappen there, but with a very long run, of course, down into turn 1. We are going to be in for a very, very interesting end of this session as Max Verstappen's on the hard. Oh my goodness. Max Verstappen is going to be fuming because the hard compound tyre here is terrible. He had no other tyres available. Max has no other tyres available, I believe. So Max Verstappen, oh my goodness, the hard compound tyre is not... He's going to struggle to switch that on. That is... Oh, Max Verstappen could be under risk here from Charles Leclerc and could lose multiple positions in the closing stages of this race when it looked like he was pushing for P2 at one point. Oh my goodness. Did they not have any tyres left? Let's see. No doubt Max is going to come on the radio and say something, but that is... Oh my goodness. It's the only new set Max had, but... Didn't he have used softs available? Oh, the hard compound tyre is going to be very tricky. There's a reason why we haven't seen the hard compound tyre used all race, guys. It's because it's terrible. You cannot switch it on. Recovery vehicle on at track 10 as they're removing Kimi Antonelli's car. But yes, we will see drivers, no doubt, all pit to put on a fresh set of boots. It's going to be a couple of laps until, of course, we get underway. Lapped cars need to, of course, unlap themselves. As Max Verstappen did say, he's come on the radio and asked, why are we on the hard tyre? Why are we on the hard tyre? He's the only driver who has used the hard tyre this race. Oh, this is going to be very interesting for Max Verstappen. What? What? He's gone, what the fuck have we... Why have we got the hard tyre on? Why have we on the hard? That was the only option, is what GP has reported back to Max. Oh, not good, not good. But Kimi Antonelli, just watching the replay of him as he was heading down the back straight, the middle straight, and, well, his engine just cut out. Oh, no. His engine just cut out. Oh, right into braking of turn 9. That could have been very, very messy for Kimi Antonelli. He was literally in the braking zone, downshifting, and it went like that on him. So thankfully he was able to control that car and that didn't go into a very big spin, but yes, the engine there just went on him. And Kimi Antonelli, for 2 out of the 3 races in this triple header, has had mechanical issues and retirements from this race, from races. So yes, poor mechanical issues for Mercedes. I did say to keep an eye on it at the start of this race, ladies and gentlemen, and well, Mercedes in this last year of this regulation set are struggling with reliability, something that they are normally so good at. Oh, it's unlike Mercedes to have so many problems. Exactly. You can imagine the face of Max right now having plenty of time to look at those horrible hard tyres. Yes. Why is the safety car out? Kimi Antonelli's engine just went poof, and that's why we have a safety car to remove. Red Bull put in a Ferrari strat. It does seem very odd. I think the reason they've done it is because it's the only fresh set of hards they had, the only fresh set of tyres they had available. But he's going to lose positions here, I think. I don't see how he doesn't lose positions. We have seen the hard tyre not be a good tyre all weekend. That's why it hasn't been used in the race. And also, we have seen, case in point today, where drivers who are on the softer compound tyre swoop around the outside of those on the mediums. So I think Max could lose multiple positions here in the closing stages of this race. I think it's more not of a question of if he does, it's a question of how many. With Charles Leclerc there in P4. His podium opportunity seemed to have disappeared, but it seems like it has returned as he is in P4 on a set of softs. The only driver with a brand new set, the only drivers with two softs, brand new softs available is Carlos Sainz there and Nico Hulkenberg in P8. Nico Hulkenberg's up 8 positions. Nico Hulkenberg could score even more points here. Liam Lawson's in the points as well. Esteban Ocon has an opportunity of scoring some points, but he's on the mediums. And, well, you do suspect that Max and Ocon on those harder tyres, they are unfortunately potentially going to lose some positions. It's not a question of if, it's a question of how many. But anyone else deciding to pit just yet? As Nico Hulkenberg and Gasly are on the lap, so we will probably have the lap cars unlap themselves at any point. We'll see. I mean, it seems like they're taking a little while to remove Kimi Antonelli's car. That happened lap 56, and the safety car came out lap 55. So we're already 4 laps under the safety car. So, of course, it took them a long time in Imola. Let's see how long it takes them this time around. But we do want at least, I reckon, 6 laps of racing. That would be tremendous, but we'll see. Clearing track sector 12, so no doubt it will be lap cars lap cars unlap themselves, and then we'll get racing again. Why didn't they just leave Max on the used softs they were on to begin with? Seems like a better option than hards. Well, he was on 10. He was on 11 lap old softs. I don't know, to be honest with you. Only Red Bull can explain that at this moment in time, guys. Only Red Bull can explain it. A big thank you for everyone tuning into the stream, though, by the way. Thank you for all the members and the subscribers. We are, wow, nearly 46,500 subs. If you can hit the subscribe button, let's get us close to 47k, shall we? Let's get to 47k. Over 15,000 of you in the stream right now, and let's get the stream over to 2,000 likes. Thank you. But yes, we are in for an absolute cracker of a closing stage here in this race. Let's see what is going to occur, shall we? Oscar Piastri is leading P1 from Lando Norris. That leaves Oscar Piastri under potential threat here now. But of course, he will control the race restart. And you do suspect he'll lead down into turn 1. And then DRS is about keeping his teammate out of the DRS at the end of that first lap, if he can do, because DRS is activated after a single lap now. Max Verstappen on the hard compound tyre. Max is asking the same question, why he's on that hard compound tyre. And, well, he's going to have a fair old trouble to try and heat those hard compound tyres up, get them in the right window, and he is going to be severely vulnerable on this race restart. Charles Leclerc looking to gain 4 positions here after he started P7 and get a podium. What a result that would be for him. George Russell in P5. Well, he'll be looking to capitalise here as well, as will Lewis Hamilton. Isaac Hadjar, all those drivers on the softs will be looking to capitalise here. Liam Lawson, unfortunately for him, well, he is on 16 lap old soft tyres. That's whether or not how long he has left in those tyres, as the lap cars are unlapping themselves, and, well, we'll see how long it will take them to get to the back. Hopefully not too long, and we can get racing again. I said we'll probably get maybe 6 laps of racing. It looks like that's probably what we'll have. We'll finally see the McLarens fighting for once. Hopefully. Fingers crossed, guys. Fingers crossed. We've been devoid of it today because Lando was slow off the mark at the start of this race, where he lost P2 to Max Verstappen. Then he regained it out on track, but then that gap to his teammate has remained consistent throughout. And then, well, the safety car now has bunched them all back up again. So, yes, very intriguing times here. You want to watch tyres history? I don't remember Verstappen's tyres history. Verstappen was started on the softs, then went to mediums, then went to the softs again, and now he's on the hards. He's made 4 pit stops today. Max had to go on hard tyres because that's all he's got left. Yeah, but he said that he had 3 sets of softs available to him, so he at least had one other set of softs. I believe he still had a used set of softs available. Unless he had 2, I don't know. Let me just have a quick look at the tyre allocations. So I'm looking at it. Verstappen he's had 4 sets of softs available to him today. 1 brand new and 3 used. So Red Bull have made the decision to put that hard compound tyre on because they think that the used set of softs that they had wouldn't be suitable enough. As I do believe, yes, he has used the mediums. He's used 3 sets of softs. He's got 1 more used set available to him. So I don't know why he hasn't got it, to be honest with you. But yeah, we'll find that out after the race. So 7 laps. Hopefully the race, I mean, come on, safety car, you need to go a bit slower than this. Surely we're not going to have 10 laps under the safety car. We're going to have 10 laps under... No, 6, 7 laps under the safety car. That's a lot. That is a lot. But we'll see. We'll see how he gets on. Of course, we didn't know how long the safety car was going to be out. That's true. Soft into medium into soft in 56 is super weird. I wonder why this strat happened. Yeah, safety car is in this lap. Cool. Cool. Safety car is in this lap. Here we go, guys. Here we go. Safety car in this lap. If you are enjoying the stream and you're looking forward to the last 6 laps of this race, and when they cross the start-finish line, it is a dash to the end. Max Verstappen, we could see the two McLarens go at it. How will Oscar Piastri, how will he deal with this safety car restart? And, well, how will Max Verstappen fare on that hard compound tyre? The only driver to use the hard compound tyre today. And, well, we are about to find out if he can hold on and if Oscar Piastri can win this race, as he has led from start to now. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Piastri backs up the field as the lap cars finally get back up to the back of the pack there. Oscar Piastri backs them up. And when is he going to go? Of course, it's a very long run down into turn 1, but there is no DRS on this race restart. We have to wait a single lap for DRS. That will be Oscar Piastri's aim, is to try and break that second barrier. As Hamilton reports on the radio, they do love wasting laps when it comes to the safety car. As Oscar Piastri has gone, I believe. He's gone early. He's gone from turn 12. And is this the right decision by Oscar Piastri? It could be too early. As Lando Norris is half a second back. How does Max Verstappen fare? As he's already under attack and being overtaken by Charles Leclerc down into turn 1. And Max Verstappen is come on under attack here as Charles Leclerc is side by side with Max Verstappen into turn 1. Verstappen holds onto it and Charles Leclerc holds... Oh, Max Verstappen is ahead of Charles Leclerc as they re-switch positions as Leclerc, with the grippier soft compound tyres, holds back Max Verstappen. Side-by-side action between Leclerc and Max Verstappen, and as we predicted, he has lost P3 on this race restart. Piastri did enough to hold off Lando Norris as we see Esteban Ocon on the medium compound tyre also lose position there to Fernando Alonso and Gabriel Bortoleto. But Max Verstappen on this hard compound tyre, he questioned the decision from his team why he's not on another set of softs. He had another set available to him, and well, he is dropping off the back of the front three at a tremendous rate. And well, Piastri is holding off Lando Norris at the moment. 1 second back Lando Norris is, and well, Max Verstappen just no grip whatsoever. He had a big twitch out the last corner, Max Verstappen. Great save from him as he headed down into turn 1, and well, Verstappen actually had to take to the escape road. So that is why Max Verstappen actually went out and regained the position on Charles Leclerc. But DRS is now enabled. But Norris was not in the DRS detection zone when he went through turn 14 and it was activated. But he is in the slipstream of his teammate. It's Piastri re-leading from Lando Norris. At the moment, he's going to be extending his championship lead to 10 points over his teammate who is in P2. As Leclerc is in P3, as Verstappen says, okay, mate, he rammed into me. He did the same. That's a penalty. As Verstappen not happy, as there's a 10-second time penalty for Behrman, leaving the track and gaining an advantage from earlier on in the race, I believe, from Liam Lawson. Not entirely sure why that's been issued right now, as the position was given back the next lap. But Norris, 1 second back from Oscar Piastri, who is currently holding on to this. We have 4 laps remaining after this. Max is complaining on the radio that Charles just rammed into him on the straight. He's complaining on the radio. We'll see if that is going to be investigated. But Max Verstappen on the hard compound tyres is P4. He's trying to stay in this championship fight, but at the moment he has a Ferrari in his way, as Verstappen is noted for an incident with George Russell into turn 1. So maybe it's actually George Russell he's complaining about. No, it would have been Charles Leclerc on the straight. As I'm watching the replay, and Max had a big wobble and Charles Leclerc had to... As Max Verstappen, oh my goodness, the save from the save from Max Verstappen out of the last corner was unbelievable car control. And well, Charles Leclerc didn't actually drive into the side of him. It was a great overtake by Charles Leclerc, but even better save from Max Verstappen, who is under attack from George Russell now, who is in P5 and smells a top 4 for himself to finish where he started. But Piastri has pulled out a 1.2 second gap from Lando Norris and seems to be able to hold on at the moment in time with 3 laps remaining. As we're watching the replay as they headed down into turn 1, and well, George Russell and Max Verstappen, it was actually George Russell and Max Verstappen who made contact. And I think at the moment, I think Max Verstappen was definitely ahead at the apex there. It has been noted, and we'll see if there's no further investigation. But it seems that Max Verstappen was ahead at the apex there. But we can see Liam Lawson, who's on 21 lap-old soft compound tyres, is trying to hold on to this last point scoring position. Fernando Alonso so desperately wants that first point for this season. He's in P12, but he has Bortoletto ahead of him, the driver who is part of his management team, and he has Liam Lawson as well, who he has history with. Let's see, with 3 laps remaining, Oscar Piastri is 1.5 seconds ahead of Lando Norris now, and barring a mistake, you do believe that Piastri will win this race, as really he justifiably deserves. Lando Norris in P2, Charles Leclerc is in P3, Max Verstappen is in P4, but George Russell is in the DRS of Max Verstappen. They're currently under investigation. Let's see if George Russell can make use of this soft compound tyre while Max is on the hard. And Russell cannot close up enough on Max Verstappen at the moment. Max Verstappen just getting enough from the slipstream of the Ferrari ahead as Lando Norris does set the fastest first sector, but it's only 2 tenths quicker than that of Oscar Piastri with 2 laps remaining. With 3 laps remaining at the moment, but 2 laps remaining after that. When we cross the start-finish line, Yuki Tsunoda makes his position up as George Russell has just got past Max Verstappen. They're side-by-side into turn 5, and George Russell and Max Verstappen, as Verstappen regains the position on George Russell down into turn 7 there. George Russell trying to utilise the extra grip he has on the soft compound tyre. Max fighting for his dear life at the moment on the hard compound tyre, a decision he wasn't too happy with, as Alonso finally gets into P11, and he has his eyes set on Liam Lawson, the rear wing of that RB car. He has 2 laps remaining to try and score his last point his point position here, as I'm watching Max Verstappen go very slowly. And oh my goodness, what is Max doing? What is Max and George doing as Max Verstappen has let George Russell past? I don't know what's happening with Max and George, but it just looked like Max drove straight in. As Max Verstappen has been told to let George Russell through. This is absolutely shocking right now. Max Verstappen was told to let George Russell through, and then George Russell did not see that Max Verstappen was allowing him through. They make contact, and Alonso's got past Lawson into turn 1. Alonso is on course for scoring his first points of the season as Sainz moves up into P15. It's all happening here in the closing stages of this race. George Russell and Max Verstappen had a collision into turn 5 as Max was told to give the position back to George Russell, and George Russell did not know that Max was going to give the position. He slowed unnecessarily. It caught George out, and well, they made contact. They've made contact twice, and they're still finishing this race. Unbelievable end to this race right now. But Piastri, as we approach the final lap of this race, Piastri is leading 2.2 seconds from his teammate Lando Norris. A tremendous performance from him as Charles Leclerc is in P3 and George Russell is in P4 there. How Russell and Verstappen haven't crashed there, I do not know, as I'm not entirely sure what Verstappen was doing. What was Max doing? We'll review it after the race. It's like he was told to give the position back and then didn't. But Hulkenberg is up into P6. Oh my goodness, guys. Hamilton is in P7, Hadjar is in P8, Gasly is P9, and Fernando Alonso is going to score his first points of the season at his home race. Unbelievable scenes here. Liam Lawson in P11. He kind of does deserve to be scoring points today, but it is what it is, as there is causing a collision. Verstappen and Russell, there could be a further points. There could be a further penalty for Max Verstappen coming his way, so we'll stay tuned after the race, guys. But it is Oscar Piastri leading from Lando Norris at the moment. He has only half a lap remaining to win and extend his championship lead at the Spanish Grand Prix, as there's no further action for turn 1 with Verstappen and George Russell, but it's turn 5 that is the one that could see Max Verstappen receive a penalty, and well, that could see Hulkenberg promoted, it could see Hamilton promoted, it could see Hadjar promoted, and even Pierre Gasly. So stay tuned. We will see what occurs there. But Oscar Piastri comes around the last corner and wins the Spanish Grand Prix and extends his championship lead to 10 points over Lando Norris, who finishes in P2. Charles Leclerc gets a podium at the end of the race here with this safety car restart. George Russell chased down by Verstappen at the end. They collided not once but twice, George Russell and Max Verstappen. As we'll see what happens with the stewards after the race. We'll see what occurs there. A mistake of orders by Red Bull, forcing Max to give the position back, and Max not wanting to give it back. It seemed Max just rammed George Russell, but really conflicting information there as Behrman falls to the bottom there in P17 because of that 10-second time penalty. Verstappen finishes P5 provisionally at the moment. Nico Hülkenberg P6, Lewis Hamilton is in P7, Isaac Hadjar scores points once again, Pierre Gasly in P9, and Alonso scores his first points of the season. Fernando Alonso, it would be at his home race. P10 for Fernando Alonso, well done. Liam Lawson finishes in P11. A bit hard done by, really, but he didn't score points. As there's a 10-second time penalty for Max Verstappen, causing a collision. And, well, he's provisionally finished P5, but no doubt we're going to see Max Verstappen fall down the order. And, well, that's going to remove Max Verstappen from P5 to P9, I believe, if the maths is correct. No, P10! Max Verstappen scores a single point. And, well, Piastri and Norris have just extended the gap at the top of the standings over Max Verstappen. It was a mix-up, really, when it came to team orders over the radio. They told Max to give the position back to George Russell. Max went why? Not entirely sure. And, well, the ironic thing is that there was no further investigation for turn one. And, well, Max Verstappen, because of that, went into the side of George Russell, who thought he was letting him past. I don't really know what happened there with Max, to be perfectly honest with you. So lucky that they didn't have suspension damage and go off into the gravel, wheel-on-wheel contact. And, well, Nico Hülkenberg is up in P5. Oh, my goodness. What an ending to the race that was, guys. What an ending to the race. We have to do driver of the day. We have to do driver of the day. We have... Oh, my goodness. Wow. I don't know what happened with Max there. It was a clear miscommunication. I don't know, but Oscar Piastri extends his championship lead. Let's do driver of the day, and then we'll have a look at what that does to the championship standings. Do not disappear, guys, as Nico Hülkenberg, Hulk, I'm just going to put Hulk because I can't spell at this moment in time. Fernando Alonso as well, I think. Let's do Charles Leclerc. And I think they're the only ones, really, that deserve to probably be driver of the day. Piastri did a very good job, of course. Piastri did a very good job, but I think those two. Let's have a look here at the championship standings. Here we go. Oscar Piastri, 10 points ahead of Lando Norris now as he extends his championship lead. And Verstappen, well, he is now... Oh, what is that gap to Verstappen now? That is, if my maths is correctly... Is that 40 points? Is that nearly 50 points? No, 40 points. Is that 39 points? I think Piastri is 39 points ahead of Max Verstappen now. That's really put a dent in his championship hopes there. Not entirely sure what happened. Of course, he will we'll probably get the radio messages replayed, but GP definitely came on the radio and said he needs to give that position back. Which, ironically, there was no further investigation, so we didn't need to. But Russell moves up into stays in P4. There is movement for Hadjar, and Fernando Alonso scores 2 points, not one, but 2. For the first time this season, gets promoted up into P9 because of Max Verstappen's 10-second penalty at the end. I'm surprised the stewards did that so quickly. Kaka, thank you for the membership, buddy. 31 months. Big thank you. And guys, thank you for the viewership as well, as always. This end of this triple header, what a race. Really enjoyed the end to that. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, guys. Let's get it's 37,000, surely. Surely there's 500 of you in here who haven't hit the subscribe button. You know that. But at the moment, who is driver of the day? Well, 67%. Overwhelmingly, it seems Nico Hülkenberg. Alonso, 13%. Charles Leclerc, 21%. But yes, Hülkenberg moves up 4 places with 10 points scored. And you know what as well? That is on merit. That was a phenomenal drive from Nico Hülkenberg today. The fact of it he's done that on merit is just like no luck, shall we say, no inclement weather, you know. He did that on pure performance. A great result by him. Gohan, thank you for the 5, by the way, much appreciated. Thank you. Woo. Give Hulk a chance and he'll get a podium. I know. But yes, start-finish incident involving... Oh my goodness, what? Start-finish straight incident involving cars Verstappen and Leclerc noted causing a collision. What? There's still investigations. Oh, stay tuned, guys. Stay tuned. What's that done to the constructors? Well, McLaren have extended their lead at the top with, of course, maximum points there. 362 now to Ferrari's 165. Ferrari move into second place in the constructors. Tifosi, you have something to cheer about. A podium today from Leclerc, and the Tifosi up into P2 now in the constructors. Mercedes moved down one, of course, into Antonelli. Another mechanical issue from him. That's 3 races in a row that the Mercedes have received mechanical issues. Red Bull down, of course, because they scored 1 point today from Max Verstappen. Kick Sauber move up 2 places to P8 because of 10 points scored by by Nico Hülkenberg, our driver of the day. And well, that is every team now that has scored double digits in points, guys. Wow. But yeah, start-finish. I can't believe there's even more investigations. It'll be investigated after the race. Ooh. Max is the biggest crybaby ever, even bigger than Hamilton. I mean, Niso Rosberg was saying it really annoyed Max. I mean, did we see... let me see if I can get it for you guys, and I'll link it in the chat. Nico Rosberg is saying it's very malicious. He's saying that it was very malicious, and Max slowed down and then chose to drive into another driver. Oh, it's not very good from Max, I'll tell you that, looking at it. It's not very good at all. It does look like it's intentional. I'm just looking to... Right, here we go. I've got it. I've got a link. Oh, where is it? Why can I not get the link? There we go. Copy link. There we go. That's the pin message. Have a look at that, guys. Hopefully you can see it. It's not good viewing. That's the kind of driving that loses you a championship. Yeah. Because he was told to give the position back, which he wasn't happy with. And Max was actually ahead at the apex. But the team obviously wanted to give the position back because, well, you're at risk of getting a 10-second time penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage, as we saw Behrman get and Albon get. So because of the fine margins, the team can't judge it. They'd rather be safe than sorry and just give the position back. But then he has lost his head because of that. He's slowed to let him through, but then he's gone straight on into George. So it's like, because he tried to scare him. I think maybe he's tried to scare him to like force him further offline so that he can get a better... I just don't know. It's a rush of blood. And he's very, very fortunate that George didn't crash. I'm seeing many online right now saying that he should have been given a black flag. I don't know. I mean, even the issue at the start, even at the I don't know. I mean, I think if you saw someone like Lance Stroll do that, I think people would be calling for a lot worse. So it looked like Russell. What? The issue? No, I don't think so. But it's clearly a rush of blood. FIA and race stewards all against Max, and Max has anger and pride problem. I don't know. The stewards aren't against Max. No, of course they're not. How many times have the stewards ruled in favour of Max? But this is clearly just a rush of blood, a rush to the head. I don't know. I mean, he's going to have to cool down. He's going to have to probably have a talking to by the PR team to ensure that he doesn't say something that can maybe get him a race ban. We know that him and George have history. It's all been kind of happy-go-lucky off the track, isn't it, recently with George and Max? And everyone was like, what's happening with those two? They seem to have been okay now. Well, we just saw that there. So, why is Stroll not even on the timing screen? Because he didn't start the race. He didn't start the race because he withdrew from the race. It's a very... Can you make the FIA race control thing a bit bigger, please, rather than track? Yeah, I can do now. Yeah. So we can put that over there, and we can make this bigger. There we go. But yeah. Ooh. Drive to Survivor's going to have a field day, I know. Disqualification for Max. I mean, they can give, I mean, maybe they could, I mean, if they, I mean, but they've already ruled on it, actually, so I don't know if they can go back and retrospectively issue a different penalty. I'm not sure, but... Hey, Rory, thank you, mate. The Red Bull is undrivable due to oversteer and understeer. Just look what Rosberg said about the Red Bull's behaviour. Yeah, I mean, the Flexi-Wing directive has actually had a negative impact on Red Bull. They were hoping it'd be a positive impact. But yeah, I mean, that is... It's not good driving by Max at all there. And it's built upon frustration from him being put on the hard compound tyre. That's the thing. He was questioning why he was put on the hard compound tyre anyway. He's now finished. We said how many. It was not a question of if he was going to lose positions. It was a question of how many he was going to lose. I mean, yeah. 4 penalty points gives him a 1 race ban. Oh yeah, it could be a race ban. You know, coming his way. That could be a race ban if they dish out. I mean, the stewards' rulings. I think you've got to give penalty points for that. So Charles's contact with Max is being investigated. They did make contact. They did make contact, but it doesn't need to be investigated. I don't think anything's going to happen there with Charles. But the thing is, Max was always ahead there. I don't know why they decided to give Max... I don't know why they told Max to give that position back. Oh my goodness, though. I mean, I'm looking at that back, and it's just not good enough for Max. He doesn't even lock up. He just slows down and rolls off the brakes and moves straight into the side of George. I mean, that's a rush of blood. That is just a rush of blood to the head. It's not good viewing, guys. It's not good viewing. Isn't Verstappen on his last warning before a race ban? He is, yeah. I'm waiting to... Oh, they're on the... oh, let's see. They're in the cool-down room. They're in the cool-down room. Surely they've got to show it. Do not show it. Do not show it. Please. They have to show the contact between Verstappen and George at the end. Please. I've got to see their reactions. Aston Martin do have a reserve driver, Shane, but as we spoke about at the start of the race, if qualifying is the last cut-off point, so... If you qualify and then you're unable to compete in the race, that's it. You're not able to put in your reserve driver. So Stroll, and that's also one of the theories, is that they purposely knew Stroll could only do qualifying and they didn't want Drogovic to step into the seat because otherwise Drogovic has the potential of making Stroll look a bit foolish, you know, and outperforming him. At the end of the day, it's Lance Stroll's team. Oh, come on. Get to it. Do not cut away. I kid you not, TV direction. Do not cut away from Max Verstappen and George Russell's incident. I need to see it. I'm waiting, guys. I'm waiting to let you guys know. You're all waiting on tenterhooks. I know you are. All right, here we go. Right here, they're washing it now. Surely. Charles did say, yeah, we touched it. Come on, come on. Oh, cheeky little smile from Lando. They all just went, oh. Charles went, oh my God. That was it, really. Okay, bit of a anticlimactic thing there, but still. I do agree. I saw a comment that Max does throw his toys out the pram when things don't go away. I mean, yeah, he's not a good loser, and that's because he's a winner. He's a born winner. So multiple champions aren't good losers. So yeah, he does seem to go. He does seem to lose his head a little bit. So, and it stemmed from him being put on the hard compound tyre initially. So it stemmed from, you can literally see where it's happened. He's been put on a hard compound tyre. He's miffed at that. He then has a big tank swap of which he controls brilliantly out the last corner. Then Charles Leclerc breezes past him, and Charles slightly touches, but that's because Max isn't quite going in a straight line. Nothing untoward. He's upset with that. Then he gets shoved off by George, who he doesn't particularly like in the first place. Then he's told to give that position back. So he's like, fuck this. And then he slows down to do it. And then I think what he's done at the last second is go, nah, fuck this. I'm not giving this back. And he just lets his car go straight into the side of George, which is like the biggest no-no in motorsport. Like, and that's what happened. He's just had a rush of blood, and in that split second, he's seen the Mercedes come past him, and he's just gone, nah, I ain't having it. Hulkenberg 5th? Yes, Hulkenberg 5th, and he is our driver of the day. 62%, unsurprisingly. Well deserved. Well deserved. So, yeah. I mean, the funny thing is that Max was actually having a good race up until that point. So, yeah. I only swear when it's absolutely necessary, Adams. I only swear when it's absolutely necessary, and I think in that moment it was. For all of you guys trolling Max, remember if he had the McLaren. Yeah, but he's not, though. And that's the thing. You don't always find yourself in the quickest car. But what Max has done is that when he was in the quickest car, he absolutely capitalised on it. So, but yeah, it's just... Max's race up until that point was actually going very well, and unfortunately, obviously his own actions are his own actions, and he's in control of that. However, he has been put into that position by his team by putting him onto the hard compound tyre, and I would love to know as well, I'm sure Max does, why he was put onto the hard compound tyre there. Yes, it was a brand new tyre, but the hard was not used this weekend for a reason, because no one could get it to work. And Max nearly suffered the biggest consequence of all out of the last corner by having no grip on that hard and having a massive crash, which he beautifully controlled. And credit where it's due that he did control it, but then obviously that what happened the next couple of laps unfortunately undid all that. So wouldn't be surprised if Red Bull did not... there was no investigation for that Russell moment, so why did Red Bull ask him to give it back? The reason why they asked him to give it back is because... as we've seen before, the way the rules are at the moment, it's down to the teams to judge whether... The stewards don't tell them to give the position back anymore. It's down to the teams to judge whether they want the decision to go to the stewards. Now, if they think it's... like we saw Charles Leclerc give the position back in Imola with Albon. Ferrari gave it back because they were like, it's not worth the 10-second time penalty. If we get a 10-second time penalty... we're going to go from finishing 6th to finishing outside the points. Whereas, similar here with Max, he was potentially going to hold on to 4th from George. He was potentially going to hold on to 5th. But obviously, he's got a 10-second time penalty for something different. But if he got given that 10-second penalty anyway for the being ahead... which I think he was ahead anyway, as there was no further investigation, then it's just not worth the risk, really. Obviously, what's happened has happened there. But at the time, Red Bull made a decision that it's not worth the risk of giving up 5th place for 10th place. Just do it. So, and he might have got overtaken anyway by George. Like, it was probably better for him to focus on holding off Hulkenberg behind, which he could do, on the hards, than it was George Russell, try and hold off George Russell is on hards, softs. So the race we wanted, explosive start to the race with Max. The race we get, explosive end to the race. Yeah, Max could have a slow pit tyre change to the used softs. He was gripping so much for the hards. Yeah, low-key it seemed like Max was negotiating with his engineer as he was expecting to get a position back and not expecting to have to give a position to Russell. And whilst that, I disagree. Looking at it, I think there was a little bit of miscommunication. But I think he's just in that split moment gone, no, I'm not giving the position back. And he's gone into the side of him. The problem is that he's let off the brake and he's gone straight into the side of him. That's the problem. Like, it's an intention to run the car out of room. Unless there is a radio message that literally comes to Max, and we can prove that, at the moment where he then starts going quickly again, where they go, okay, carry on, but don't give the position back. It does look like he's just had a rush of blood to the head. But yeah, unless there is a radio message that we're unaware of that came at that moment where he's slowing down, and they go, okay, carry on then. Maybe, so. Folks were trying to argue me down that Max would have given the position back to Oscar a few races ago. Yeah. People lose their heads, it happens. Just thankful Russell wasn't injured. I mean, yeah, thankful that they both didn't crash, to be perfectly honest with you. So, let's rate this race out of 10, shall we? Let's rate this race out of 10. Rate the Spanish GP out of 10. After 6, 7 to 8, 9 to 10. Oh. All the podcasts are going to have lots to talk about, aren't they? Max got a 10-second time penalty at the end, yeah. Yeah. 8 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10. 10 out of 10 because Max P10. Oh, dear. No matter how many fish are in the sea, it will feel empty without me, Max. I mean, look, whatever you think about the man, he provides entertainment. Whether it be positive or negative, he provides entertainment. So, Max is angry because he realises Oscar got the whip hand in World Driver Championship, yeah. Did Max get voted Driver of the Day, did he? Maybe he got voted Driver of the Day before that incident. But the thing is that when you look at George's onboard, when you look at the replay and you watch the onboard of George, he comes in very quickly into the side of George, which is like a very... Oh. The question is now that it's being asked on Sky is like, should he have been black flagged? Nico Rosberg says he's very lucky not to be. Oh. Max says he hates Drive to Survive, but he is the one providing content. Yeah, he is indeed, yeah. Driver of the Day votes end 5 laps before the race. Yeah, and that was before the safety car. That was as the safety car came in, didn't it? We basically got 5 laps of racing. So Lewis is concerning now. Yeah, I mean, Lewis was hoping for a podium today. Didn't turn out that way. Questions about his strategy. He wasn't happy about being brought in so early, but definitely seemed to struggle on the rear more. Yeah, I don't know. Don't know with Lewis. I just don't really expect much from Lewis in this set of regs. Never have done. They're big, they're bulky, they're slower for the corners, laboured for the corners. 2026 is a new start for him, but of course he's another year older. So, yeah. Dangerous driving usually ends with disqualification. It normally does, yes, but it hasn't been so there. The stewards have gone very quickly with a 10-second time penalty. So I thought that we'd have to wait till after the race. So and George is essentially turning essentially. What's that, Taco? What'd you say? And George is turning essentially to the right. Nico Rosberg doesn't know what he's on about. He said Max turned into Charles on the main straight. It was clear as day. It was the other way around. Well, they kind of met in the middle a little bit. If you look at the steering wheel angle of James, of Max's, he isn't exactly holding his steering wheel straight. He does kind of angle it a little bit, smallest of margins to the middle, and they're both like moving that direction. But I think he knows. I think Nico Rosberg is better well suited to judge what goes through a driver's mind than any of us. So. Can't help yourself. I know I'm being a sore loser, but I wish for McLaren downfall. Williams' dominance would be much better. That's fine. You're totally within your right to support who you want and wish downfall on which team and which driver that you want. Of course you are. It's never... Whenever you support a team, it's like when you support a football team, a soccer team. No one's ever happy when their team loses. Well, at least I know I'm not, unless you're that way inclined. But yeah, you don't feel good after the person you support or the team that you support loses. No, of course not. So... with the way Max drives RB and starts trying to find a different number one driver. No, I mean, but this is the sort of... But these are the sort of things, right? These are the sort of incidents and things that can spiral, guys. And they can force Max in his camp to go, why did you put me on the hard compound tyres? Like, the thing is about Max in his camp is that they're never in the wrong, right? So every time Max has done something dubious in his F1 career, he's never been told that he's in the wrong, at least from the Red Bull side of things. And his camp will, because ultimately he's the superstar. So he's still going to act like the superstar. His camp is going to act like he's the superstar. And this is the sort of stuff, a decision making, which could make Max go, F you guys, I'm going elsewhere. You know? And he's lost more. And supposedly, I don't know if it's him, if his clause in his contract. I don't know if his clause in his contract is he needs to be in the top, outside the top 2, or if it's outside the top 4. But even so, he is now lost grounds to the championship leaders, and he's lost grounds on George Russell as well. George Russell's just gained 11 points on him. So it's the sort of things that can make, if you're already on edge about whether you're going to stay or not, these sort of results, whether it's your fault or not, like, you're already doing, Max is already doing the best that he can in that car. And then arguably that's a strategy decision that has put him, he will see it, and his camp will probably see it. Well, Max was put in that position because you put me on the hards when you had another set of softs to use. So no, wrong tyres aren't justifying for using your car as a weapon. I totally agree, but I'm seeing it from the Verstappen camp's perspective. That's how they'll frame it, probably. So yeah, Holgerberg was sick, but yes, he got promoted to P5 because Max got a 10-second time penalty. Why did Russell not get a penalty for his turn 1 shenanigans? Turn 1, so it was just basically a racing incident. So he was entitled to be there, and they saw it as that because Max kept the escape road, went to the escape road and kept the position. There was no further investigation, but Red Bull were unsure. They thought potentially Russell was ahead at the apex. Better off to be risk averse and hold on to P5, then get a 10-second time penalty. But then they couldn't foresee what was going to happen, obviously, when Max was told to give the position back. So Max will run to Nui again. It's his only car. Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. I don't know. If Max and George collided and went off track, would have been absolute cinema to watch. I know, that would have been a moment. Who's my favourite F1 wag? I don't know who the wags are. I feel if any other driver would have been doing that, it's DQ'd. You do have to think about it. Like, you have to think. So they're analysing it on Sky now to see what the angles of the cars are down the start-finish straight. We'll see. But yeah, sorry. Going back to, I think if that's another driver like Lance Stroll, or maybe Liam Knowles, someone who hasn't got as I'd say good reputation, like good standing with the stewards, I think they would have been probably DQ'd. Yeah. This command makes racing better and use it to win the championship. Sometimes these things can spur you on. Of course they can. Yeah. But it's still not good. It's still not good look. It wasn't a good look when Sebastian Vettel went into the side of Hamilton. So, Red Bull this year has been the worst team out of any other team. Bad strategy than Ferrari this year's. They have slacked on their strategies, I must admit. Yeah, they have slacked. They were so good for so long and they've kind of fallen off a little bit. But I'm still not sure why they put him onto that hard tyre. I really don't know why. 44% of you think it was a 7 or 8 out of 10. 24% of you think it was a 9 or 10 out of 10. 18% of you think 5 out of 6 out of 10. And 40% of you say 1 out of 4 out of 10. I would give it... What would I give it? I think I'd give it a 8, maybe 9 out of 10. I think maybe an 8 out of 10. I think the strategy was very intriguing. We did see on-track overtakes. There was definitely things to keep an eye out on throughout the whole race. And then, hang on, just watching. They're just watching the analysis to see who actually moved over towards who on the start-finish straight. I think my assessment's correct, is where they move into each other at the same time. And it's only at the last second Max actually moves out of the way of Charles. Yeah, looks like, okay, maybe Charles actually was moving a little bit more left, but nothing untoward, though. Shout out to the safety car. Yeah, shout out to the safety car. Max needs to go on a run on a few wins now. That Red Bull has got Ferrari strategy and sour pace. Yeah, I mean, look, it's possible. The problem for Max is that he needs to avoid these sort of results. He needs to maximise when the car is good, which he has done. This weekend, the Red Bull was not quick. It was not good. But he still was on course to score a podium today if it wasn't for the safety car. But the team didn't handle the safety car very well. They put him on a set of hards. Still yet to find out exactly why they put him on a set of hards. So my TV coverage is a little bit behind, Tiger. Why did Max give dual position back? He was ahead, no. He was, yes, but as I said before, the stewards don't tell the teams to give the position back. They let the teams decide. And if they deem that, yes, that's the correct decision, then they won't dish out a penalty. But if they deem you at fault and you haven't given the position back, you've gained an advantage and you'll get a 10-second time penalty. So at the moment, Charles and Oscar are the only capable drivers who are going wheel-to-wheel with Max without crashing. In fairness, I mean, just watching, hang on. So the incident with Russell, and Russell looks angry. He looks scary, does he? Who's winning the title, Dosco? I don't know. I still don't know. It's going to be going. It's going to go to the last race of the season, I think. Why not just pit Max and keep the same tyres? I mean, I think keep pitting Max and keeping him on the same tyres, you saw what could happen. Liam Lawson stayed on the same tyres and he got eaten alive. So I think you kind of... I still think that would have been a poor decision. But I think we had a look at the start of the race. His tyre allocation, he had 4 sets of softs available. So I don't know why they didn't stick another set of softs on. Unless they lost them. I don't know. I don't know why they thought the hards would be fine. But... did you hear a scream? Yeah, the little ones in the background being fed. Sorry, guys, I'm just checking stuff. Oh. Was this Hamilton's worst race so far? No, he's had worse races than this. I can't remember what worse races he had. So, how much dangerous driving will Max be allowed to get away with before someone's seriously hurt? Yeah, I mean, unless there is a clear radio message that says, okay, don't give the position back and continue racing. At the moment he slows down and then speeds up again, I don't think there's any justification for what he's done. Just don't think there's any justification. Even then, it's like, well, you're clearly trying to force another driver straight out onto the gravel or out of room. I don't know. It seems like to me that he's probably just decided to slow down. And in the last split second, when he's literally seen George Russell outbrake him and come past him, he's gone, nah, I'm not doing it. And he just releases off the brake and goes straight into him. Yeah. So. Benefit of the doubt. I mean, he couldn't have done it. Yeah, he might not have done it on purpose, but I don't know. I think we've watched enough of Max racing, and I think that's like, we know that he's a bit of a hot head, and we know that he's got those moments in him. So, who got fastest lap? I don't know. Doesn't really matter anymore because there's no extra point for fastest lap, guys. So. Leclerc was so lucky they didn't receive any damage with the contact. Yeah, he was fortunate. He was fortunate. Thank you, Linda. Yes, we're on holiday tomorrow now. We're on holiday. Got to finish off packing. I'll put some shorts together so I can post them tonight and tomorrow and stuff. But yeah, we'll be off for a nice family holiday, guys. So looking forward to it. I need it after this triple header. I appreciate being honest and calling out for what it is. Yeah, look, I always tell you guys, I always try and base my things around logic, as I said, and yeah. Upon first look, I thought, oh, Max is just like... I thought upon first look, Max is... I don't know what happened, to be perfectly honest with you. And then you watch it again and you're like, oh, yeah, it's not great. True, if that's the case, it would be unjustified, but does anyone heard if the team told him to go on or not? That's what I'm trying to ascertain, Monique. But even then, the manner in which he's trying to hold on to the position is that he's just purely driven into the side of someone. It's not good enough. So, purely because it could damage his car. But I think you'll be surprised, Phoenix, of what people will do in the moment. Anyone who's done karting, anyone who's done sim racing... Everyone's kind of done something, even on online racing, that you've done in the heat of the moment, and then maybe you look back on and go, "Oh, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have done that," because it's in that split second. Like it's just, and these guys are driving. The adrenaline is like going so. The adrenaline is pumping so much. Drivers drive like that during road rage on the street. Exactly. Anyone's been in the car on the road, and everyone's had a flash of rage at some point. It's just what happens. So now that all championship hopes are gone for Max, he should take the next race off and have a month off. His championship hopes haven't gone. They haven't gone at all. So, do I think Lance will show up for the Canada GP? He will do. Yeah, of course he will. It is a rest miss sort of. It is a rest miss. So. Okay, and Davison says on the Sky pad it's intentional. He said he thinks it's intentional. Yeah. And Davison thinks it's, upon analysing everything, he thinks it's a black flag. GL63 isn't completely throwing Max under the bus in an interview, surprisingly. Maybe... I don't know. Maybe they haven't seen it back yet. I don't know. But Max is out of the title race. I disagree, Dusko. Sky F1 shows clearly that Charles moved into Max. Yeah, no, I've moved it back, and it looks like, but it's not like a straight off veering into him, is it? I love Nico Rosberg is so great because he just does not. Whatever you think of Nico Rosberg, I love it because he proper flusters Sky, because Sky are such fence sitters. They don't say it how it is, and Nico Rosberg just goes, "It's a black flag. It's intentional." He'll just say it how it is about any driver. Like when he called out Fred Vasseur and he was like, "Your car looks the worst out of everyone there today. I've been standing at turn 7 and it's terrible. What have you got to say about that?" Whereas like the presenters are just like, "Oh, you can't ask that. You can't ask that." And it's like, that's what we want. That's what we want. We want the proper hard-hitting questions. We don't want them to fence sit. The Red Bull team just isn't very classy from Christian Horner's dodgy pit. FIA needs to put their foot down and give him a race ban. He could still get a race ban. I don't know when his points renews, but he was one incident like this away from receiving penalty points. So he might get this. I feel like when Max hit George, he didn't see him because he was arguing with his team radio. I disagree. He did see him because at the moment he rolls off the brakes, George has already gone past him. He's already more than so alongside him. And Max knows exactly where George is because George is ahead of him. So, it depends on the penalty points, yeah. But there we go. Nico Rosberg is such a shit stirrer and we love it. He's not even a shit stirrer though. He's just like, he just says it how it is. He just says it what he sees from his perspective, knowing. And the good thing about Rosberg is that he grew up, he raced in like a toxic environment where he was fighting for a world championship, where things got very heated. He tangled with his teammate. He knows like what it takes to win a world championship, and he knows the faults that go through your head as a racing driver. like when you're angry and when, like, he knows exactly what it's like, and that's why he says it how it is, and his opinion kind of has so much weight to it. So, dinosaur, yeah, she thinks she's a dinosaur. Toto said George could have had a podium if not for Max, and says it looks what, ODD? ODD? It's ODD. No, Michael Charles and Russell are fine. Max uses car. Sky, we hate Max Verstappen and Red Bull F1. They don't hate them. No. They don't hate them. If anything, they pandered to them too much. They're very... ever since Red Bull said, we're not speaking to you anymore, and they had a boycott against them because they didn't like being criticised, Sky have bent over backwards for them, to be perfectly honest with you. And I don't think any driver in any team should be above criticism. So. Is she a raptor? Yeah, I think so. Toto doesn't... No, Toto doesn't want to upset Max. Yeah, oh. How you said odd. Oh, odd. I thought it was... Odd. Sorry. I thought it was like an acronym. Odd. Odd. Yeah, Toto doesn't want to upset Max, does he? He's probably in negotiations with him right now. He probably has a contract in Max's trailer at the moment that he's trying to get signature on. So he doesn't want to have a go of him, but we will see what Max has to say. I imagine Max isn't going to say a lot in the interviews, to be perfectly honest with you. So, yeah, I think that's that. But, yeah, no, thank you, Pat. Much appreciated. Odd is odd, exactly. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But, guys, thank you once again. I'm going to call it there. This is it. Yeah, who knows what went through Max's head. Only he will know in that moment. It's going to be a talking point across every podcast and every YouTube creator for the next 2 weeks until we head to Canada. I'll do some shorts, no doubt, on reactions of the closing stages of that race because it was absolutely mental. But to highlight is Nico Hulkenberg finishing P5 and, of course, Fernando Alonso scoring the first points of the season. So, yes, well done to those two drivers. Piastri extends his championship lead, 7 points to 10 points over Lando now. Lando, poor start once again. Cost him really in any opportunity of this race, but it does seem like qualifying is deciding the races at the moment. So, yeah, Verstappen, only 1 point there. We'll see, obviously, what that does to his championship hopes. Oh, yeah, George Russell, let's listen to his interview with Sky. See what he has to say. Hang on. Before I go. Just before I go. George being a bit coy with his response, it seems. Oh, no, he didn't. Oh, no. George just went... I've seen him do this in simulator games and karting, but never in F1. No, he didn't. He went there. There's plenty of clips of Max doing this in sim racing. There's plenty of clips of Max doing this in sim racing. Yep, we've seen it. We've seen it. And he's done it in F1. I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about it. If you want history of Max doing this, well, he does it online a lot. He's been banned from iRacing for doing it. And now he's done it in F1. I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think of it. Oh, George is playing very coy and just kind of going, well, it's down to the stewards to decide whether it's deliberate or not. But, I didn't even think of that. Well, yeah, there's plenty of clips for it on iRacing of him doing it. And there's now one in F1. Anywho, on that note, guys, on that note. On that note, it's been a pleasure, guys. What a way to round off this triple header. Over 2,000 likes here to end this stream. We had, what do we have there? Nearly 18,000 viewers. These streams bigger and better every single week. Pleasure as always for joining me. There's going to be a lot to talk about. There's going to be a lot to talk about, of course, moving forward. But yes, what's going to happen with Max Verstappen? Yeah, we'll see. But everyone, I'm off on holiday. have a lovely 2 weeks yourself. So it'll be minimal content in the next couple of weeks. But I'm going to set the live stream up for the practice of Canada. So you can head over there and chat and so forth. And yeah, we'll be back tanned and well rested for the Canadian Grand Prix at Montreal, which is always a favourite of mine. So yes, thank you guys. Have a lovely rest of your Sunday. And we'll see you soon. Bye.